Welcome to Things You May or May Not Believe Abusers Have Said, aka the Can't Be Broken podcast, where we are shining light on the darkness that is domestic violence and abuse. I am your favorite confidence pusher, M Boogie in this thing. And we got three simple goals. Number one, educate anyone who has never been in an abusive ship. Number two, empower all of the people who have survived abusive ships. And number three, encourage anyone who is still currently in an abusive ship. Listen, you are not crazy. You are not alone. Abuse is not normal, and your feelings are valid. Despite how it may look and feel at this very moment, there is always a way out, and we encourage you to safely seek support. Now, please keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times because we're about to take off, and it's probably going to be a bumpy ride. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. I am super beyond excited and privileged to introduce our guest for today. She is an amazing human being, a gorgeously beautiful light, but the world knows her as Dr. KYLA. Welcome to the show, Dr. KYLA. Pew, 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 pew. Confetti, 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 confetti. Oh my goodness. How are you doing today, girl?
I am doing good. I'm doing good.
Yeah,
Yeah. How about you?
I'm good. Phenomenal. It's a phenomenal day. Just enjoy. I'm just excited because I get to have this conversation with you. I am excited because every conversation that is had helps bring more awareness and just helps everyone who's currently struggling and everyone who's been there and doesn't realize how many people have been there. And I also believe that silence only perpetuates the cycle. So we're here to break that. We're here to break that. So I'm going to start you off with the question that I normally start off with, which is growing up, do you remember experiencing or witnessing abuse in your inner circle?
Um, I mean, I had a pretty tense relationship with my mom as a teenager,
Hmm.
and it's taken a long time, but I think we're like finally coming to a point where we're like understanding each other. I
Hmm.
would say not like physical abuse or like violence or anything, but there was definitely like a lot of like anxiety, PTSD, um, on like, both parts, I think. And my parents were extremely young when they had me too, so that just kind of added a whole other layer.
Yeah.
Um, but what's funny about that question is like, yes, witnessed a little bit of like anger and PTSD, but I also came from a place where I had physical PTSD, um, which I think would also be kind of considered like wartime PTSD. So I didn't grow up in America. My
Really?
dad, no, my dad was Navy for I think 9, 10 years. And then when I was 8, um, in the late 1990s,
Come on,
he
90s.
um, he was government contracted and we moved to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. So
Wow.
my childhood from 8 years old to almost 16 was in the Middle East. So I saw
Okay.
stuff,
That's some layers right there.
some big.
That's some layers. So how old were your parents when they had you?
So my mom was literally 20 years old and 1 day when she
Mm,
had me.
dang. Then you took her birthday time. Good.
I did.
Ah,
100% did. My dad is 2 years older, so he
yeah.
was around 22 when I was
Yeah.
born. So
Wow.
yeah, really young, just
Hmm.
starting life.
Hmm.
And then too, my mom is Native Hawaiian and grew up her whole life in Hawaii. So by the time she met my dad, she really hadn't been
Yeah.
out there. And she met him, and I mean, quickly they got pregnant with me, got married, and then because he was Navy, we were going all over the place.
Yeah.
So I always kind of try to like think of like, okay, I know I'd be unstable when things are like chaotic like that. So
Mm,
yeah, we as a family went through a lot,
yeah.
and we all did not come away unscathed, like at all.
Woo, that's heavy
Yeah.
sauce right there. Gosh. Because you can't imagine, like, your mom grew up Native Hawaiian and then she meets your dad in the States, or was he stationed in Hawaii when they
He
met?
was, yeah, he was stationed in Hawaii on her home island,
Mhm.
of Kauai. And they were young. So, I think they met through like a party or something,
Yeah.
like as one does. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, like I don't think they dated very long before they had me, and then they were like married really fast. And then my dad was working on becoming a pilot, so we were going all over the place, like all the time. Even when he was in the Navy, and then finally when he was government contracted to Saudi.
That's, do you feel like your parents, do you feel like either your paternal grandparents or your maternal grandparents played a major role in your parents getting married, or do you feel like they just took the pressure on themselves to get married because they were pregnant with you?
Oh no, I think I'm fairly certain my parents were the ones that came to that decision. Like I I think so. Yeah, I want to say yeah because I know from their story they were like madly in love too.
Mhm.
So it was like I don't think I think that was like their decision.
Yeah.
Um my mom too, she had, like I said, she had been island girl her whole life,
Yes.
and here's this fly boy, right? Like in the Navy, flying airplanes, being all cool. Like, yeah, you
Mhm.
get swept up off your feet, and then suddenly you end up in the Middle East.
Yes. Like, that's two totally different worlds. She lived on an island.
Like, and not just an island, not even like not even Oahu where Honolulu is. Like, Honolulu is like the dream, right? For even like
Uh-huh.
the island kids. Like, they're like, yeah, if I could just even just get to the city, like that would be great.
What?
Yeah. So she's from like the west side of Hawaii. It is
Mhm.
what we call Paniolo country. So cowboys, red dirt, like
Really?
very Kanaka, very just so very local Hawaiian, like very small. Like the town, her hometown is like literally just like a tiny dot,
A dot.
just a dot.
Daggone. Wow. And then she's just swept away and goodness. I
Yeah,
wonder how long she was on in the honeymoon phase of, oh, this is different. This is fun. I'm traveling the world now.
she was super cool about it. Like the thing that I really respected about what she did and how she like handled it, because I remember when we moved to Saudi, she did have like honestly like a breakdown, like a panic attack, because like as soon as we got to, I want to say it was like we were living in Oklahoma at the
Mhm.
time. My dad was at Tinker Air Force Base, and he was like, okay, he got the job, so he goes to Saudi 3 months before us. We have to stay, pack up, get everything
Mhm.
finished, right? Um, so we go from like Oklahoma to like Washington State or something like that. And the moment we saw people from the Middle East. You could tell by the way they were dressed and the way they were speaking, and we were all going into the same gate. It was such a culture shock for her. It was like, damn, and she just broke down. And like
Mhm.
everybody, what I remember about that was everybody was so cool about it. Like this one guy came up to her and he was like, "Hey, I know, I know." He's like, I'm from Saudi and coming here was scary for me, so I know it's scary. And it was like so cool. And I mean, she was
Yeah.
only 27, 28 when we moved. So she was a very young person.
Very young. Yes.
I was nowhere near mature at
Oh my
20.
goodness. Do you, so did your dad, was it, I mean, it's government contracted, so it was kind of one of those mandatory moves, or was he applying for jobs and this was one of those jobs that he applied for?
So it was late 90s after Desert Storm. Saudi had opened up um, its doors to American contractors. My dad was a pilot, and then he became, I think, what's called an AMP, which is like a flight engineer. So, like, he fixes and builds airplanes. And so
Mm-hmm.
he's been doing that for like 40 years or something like that. And um, so, yeah, Saudi opened up their doors after Desert Storm, and I don't know if it was like a flyer or like if people were approached, but it seemed like when I was living there, you live on a compound, which is like a gated, it's not like it's like a gated community, but it's
Right, military.
yeah, it's sort of military. Like everybody was ex-military or, working for places like Boeing, Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, those kind of companies that are very military centered. And so everybody my dad worked with, we were all living on the same compound. That's
Hmm.
where we were. Um, so you're kind of locked in with all these people, and yeah, it's you know, you live with these people, you move with these people, you're just kind of in this compound with these people
Hmm.
and you grow up with them. They all came from like either Texas or Oklahoma. And so like we were in Oklahoma at the time. So I kind of feel like people were approached. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we were expat, I guess, is
Okay.
what that's called.
Man. So then you're there. She's your mom's 27 and you're there till she's 36.
Yeah,
So
just
you're
about. Yeah.
35.
Yeah. Yeah.
That entire 8 year span from 8 to 16, y'all are, do you feel like you're the transition was such a shock to both of you that you didn't know how to emotionally express, plus the immaturity, emotionally express and communicate in a healthy way with each other your feelings? And so that developed the tension between you and your mom?
So I think so for me, as I moved in when we got there, I was 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I did have culture shock, but I don't think I had it near as bad as she did. I think like kids are far more adaptable, you know.
Yes.
You find
Yes.
yourself some friends and it's like, okay, this is the vibe. It's fine.
Yep. Yep.
Things are still weird and different and like I'm still getting used, but it's not like, you know, how my mom probably was dealing with it
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, we had no rights as women there. This is Saudi Arabia,
Mm-hmm.
Riyadh, late 90s. As soon as I hit puberty, I had to wear a robe. It's like 110 degrees and you're wearing a
Even
freaking
on the
robe.
compound, y'all had to.
No, no, not on the compound. On the
Okay.
compound, all the freedom. I wear shorts, tank tops,
Okay.
got into trouble. But um,
There's
um,
that.
but out of the compound, absolutely you have to cover. At
Hmm.
night, you don't, since I was American, I didn't have to necessarily cover my hair. Sometimes I did at night if I was approached by the religious police and they weren't just like feeling it. A lot of times you just have the scarf with you and you cover your hair. Um, but I feel like because I don't know, I might just be weird or I don't know, but when we moved there, finding out that women didn't have freedoms,
Hmm.
you're not allowed to speak out of turn. You have to cover. You have to, it's a man's
Hmm.
world there, and you have to be very, very careful. Um, I think I let it radicalize me very, very
Hmm.
young because I was like, that doesn't make sense. And then we would go home for, to visit. So we'd go back to Hawaii and women would be driving, for example. When I was a kid,
Yeah.
women weren't allowed to drive. So it was like weird. It was like, okay, but why? And so I rebelled very hard. It started at 11.
Hmm.
I decided that I was goth. and I was in love with Marilyn Manson and heavy metal, and
Hmm.
I just was that kid. I mean, like there were like no goth kids. There was a few punk kids,
That's
goth
what I was
kids,
going
you
to
know,
ask. I was like, was
and
there anybody else on the
not
compound?
really. You know, sometimes you would meet the rando other kid that was like into it, but
Mhm.
it was pretty lonely. But I decided this is who I am, and this is what I'm going to do, and
Hmm.
I'm going to completely rebel against this, and I'm going to rebel against. You got to understand too. Everybody that was not. I mean, a big majority of people that lived on my compound were from Texas and Oklahoma. That is Bible Belt. That
Yeah.
came with them.
Hmm.
So, on top of living in one of the most Muslim cities in the world, you're also concentrated on a compound with very like
Bible being
Christian.
barbecue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got this like I just all these ideologies, all these like,
Wow.
ideas around oppression and like you need to do what you're told. And I was just like, no. So um I kind of it was when I kind of became a teenager that it became a problem because
Okay.
I'm very hard-headed.
Hmm.
When I get an idea, it's no.
This is what
This
we're
is
doing.
this is what we're doing, and the more you push, the harder I'm going to lean into it.
Hmm.
And so that's where our problem started was because like one, as much as I like to tell people I love growing up with a compound, yeah, it was also boring as
Hmm.
just it was just so boring. Okay, you've got walls around you. Yes, you have amenities like a pool, soccer field, skating rink, but you do these things 1,000 times, and it's like,
What's next?
yeah, what's next? So you've got a compound full of teenagers who have nothing to do and no rights, and what are you gonna do? You're gonna cause trouble. And so, yeah, I super duper rebelled, super duper rebelled.
I think this shines a different light on it though as an adult now because you get that a teenager rebels and is so taboo and so frowned upon, but we never, and I think this is a generational thing because of the lack of communication from generation to generation and the lack of being able to even open the door to hear a child's thought process. We as people, I think probably in the entire world, have always been on the mindset a child should stay in a child's place. But while you're in your place, you're not allowed to do child things in the child place. And so
Exactly.
so you're like, okay, so I gotta stay over here, but I can't be a kid over here in the place you told me to. And we don't comprehend why that disrupts the kid. And for you, I think just as an adult now that I can process things differently on a more mature level, I'm like, man, that is very empowering to be one, wanting to stand your ground in who you thought you were at the time, or even stand your ground to figure out who you were at the time against two heavy, 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 heavy groups and almost doing it solo dolo. I think that's really, could have gone a different way, maybe not, because nobody's there to listen to what you have to say. So you only were able to express yourself. And so now I see, as I look at kids who have strange color hair or whatever they, however they're self-expressing in a way that's not destructive or non-destructive, really, it's like, why are they doing that? Who's not listening to them?
Yeah, or what are they trying to express? What are they trying to get
Mm-hmm.
from the behavior? I
Mm-hmm.
have I have a 5-year-old, and yeah, I very much lead with that because I think about my own childhood, and some things could have probably been different. Some things definitely need to be given grace, but I try to like if his attitude, man, it can be it can be a
Don't
lot.
even tell me
And
about this. I know.
But before we get angry, we try to figure out where that's coming from.
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
excuse
Hmm.
me.
Hmm. Yeah. And it's a work in progress. And I think, I mean, truly being a parent is one of the hardest jobs because you have to activate your maturity level all the time. And it's like, when I fail, I'm gonna speak for myself. When I fail at it, it bothers me because it's like I'm supposed to be the example for you. And I, as the adult, have allowed you to make me, if I yell, if I end up yelling, make me yell. You don't make me yell. I've allowed you to give myself permission to yell or whatever it
Mhm.
is, because it's my responsibility to not get to that point and to acknowledge that you're 5, acknowledge that you're 6. And we get so frustrated because you have the pressures of the world, then you have the pressures of trying to protect this little person in the whole world and not having a real manual to do this. I think it's amazing our generation has come to a place where communication is valued, I think, a little more. Like even us being able to have this conversation, both of us being brave enough to talk about our stories that for me was shameful, felt guilt, embarrassment, all of the things, because it's like, well, I stayed after it happened and I continued to stay. And there's a part of me that has to take responsibility of staying. But then there's a part that has to disclose, like, you don't understand why people stay and you don't understand the psychological abuse that happens that triggers a person to stay. Like you're talking about what you're experiencing is PTSD legit. And then you have another compounded PTSD on it because I've read an article where they're saying an abused brain is like PTSD from war
It
because of the
is.
rewiring and because of the trauma that's being, the body keeps the score, right? Because of all that
Yes.
that's being held in.
So that's why I'm here. That's why I wanted to share my story because I always got the question, why didn't you just leave? And I know other women get it too, but it's so I am a doctor of space resources. My job is to basically, if we go and live on the moon and Mars, we're going to need to be able to sustain ourselves there, right? Without much help from Earth,
Mhm.
especially on Mars. We're going to start with the moon because it's closest. Basically, what we want to do is we want to mine the resources on in space to
Mhm.
use to live. So, what are our resources? The resources are rocks and ice, basically. I focus on the rocks. My background is in Hawaiian type volcanology. So, I cruised around the volcanoes, did a lot of mapping work, and did a lot of what's called comparative planetology. The big island of Hawaii is very similar to the moon and Mars, and we can use it as a sort of simulation zone.
Mhm.
And I studied the rocks there and turned them back into lava and created building materials, or I can extract water and oxygen and metals from the soils. And
Subject, off subject, but on subject. How the heck did you get into this?
So it actually can, I think it comes from the PTSD, to be honest with you.
Okay.
So I'm not even kidding you. So maybe I should go back to Saudi before
Yes.
okay, because this is like, yeah, it all has a thing. Okay, so back home, back in Saudi, right? I am, so 2001,
Mm-hmm.
right? 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I am in Saudi Arabia when that goes
Ah,
down. Okay. That is not the place you want to be. I mean, aside from New York, but that was like, you don't, those are like the, you don't want to
yes.
be. Like, why? So
Dang.
2001, 9/11 happens, right? Things are getting real shifty. Things are getting real scary. Um, it's 2001. My parents are young. I grew up in a time and a place where mama said knock you out and you gotta like defend yourself because there's real things. One, you are sexualized the moment that you hit puberty there.
Yeah.
You are, you're fair-skinned, blue-eyed, very tall and skinny, and you know what I mean? Like, and you're a female in a man's world, in a like for real man's world. You
Are
have
y'all? I'm really trying to let you finish. But they're saying things. I'm like, so do you have? Are you going to school on the compound, or are you going to school in their
off
community?
compound.
Okay,
Yeah,
that
off
I
compound. So
figured you were, which is why you're leaning so heavy on what you're saying right now. But I need
yeah, because
our audience
it
caught up.
was it was a real thing. Like my dad taught me like, anything can be used as a weapon. This is like a for real thing because like seriously, I'm getting on the bus, and I'm going across town to the Australian school because I mean, I went to the American school for a little bit, it didn't work out. And so I got transferred to the Australian school and did not learn about my country.
Period. Period.
I was like one of like three or four American kids in this school. It was literally called the multinational school.
Uh-huh.
So I was just, all my friends came from everywhere. I
Yeah,
mean, like Africa, Middle East, the UK,
but
Europe,
that's an
like,
amazing experience. I
yeah,
bet.
no, it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was literally amazing. Um, I felt like I had an amazing childhood because I had this great community of people and you were kind of forced to go into them because these were the people. This was it.
Yeah.
So we were all very close and, there were no secrets, you know. So 9/11 happens. Things are getting dicey. It's around 2002 going into
Mhm.
2003. Things are getting really weird for Americans, right? It's not great. Al Qaeda is at the height, I think, of, when they were getting kind of,
Mhm.
I mean, it was right after 9/11, so kind of getting. So we live on the biggest American compound. Um, and you have a big wall surrounding the compound. So everybody, you have to come in through security. They have to do a bomb check, and then you are allowed in. For some reason, and I don't remember why, they were building these houses on the outside of the wall. I want to say it was maybe for management or something. I have no idea. But they found people like squatting in there with, I think they had like weapons. And so it's 2003 now, and they're like, okay, women and children have to evacuate back to where they came from. And, the men have to stay because they have contracts to finish. So, but we need to get the women and children out just in case things are dicey. So we leave, we go back to Kauai, where my mom is from. And I don't remember exactly how long we were there. I want to say like several weeks to maybe a couple of months. Um, so I'm in eighth grade, right in the middle of eighth grade, get ripped, move to Kauai for several weeks and start going to eighth grade there, where my mom went to school. So like I had all of her teachers too. So that was weird. And now I'm like in this new school, like in eighth grade in Hawaii, just like, yep,
This is not what I'm used to.
this is okay. We go to Hawaii. We went to Hawaii every year. So it was like, okay, I'm like, I know where I am, but
Hmm.
people don't know who I am because we only go for a couple of weeks to a
Yeah.
month at a time. So I'm like, okay, I make friends and everything's cool. And then suddenly it's, oh, you gotta go back to Saudi now. Okay, go back to Saudi.
What?
And then
In a couple
starts,
weeks span.
yeah, and like we just go back to Saudi and we I go back to school. 3 weeks later, my compound is bombed by Al Qaeda while I was asleep. With food poisoning too, by the way.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I had wicked food poisoning, horrible food poisoning, like just the worst. And like they blow up our compound. Okay, so they blow up the back gate, and I think the story goes those people that were squatting had made friendly with the guards,
Hmm.
and they were like, "Yeah, let us in." And they were like, "No, we have to bomb check you because they have like this big mirror on a stick that they kind of go around like kind of like a
Hmm.
dentist thing
Hmm.
to look for bombs. It doesn't matter what compound you go on, that's what's happening." sure enough, they were like, "Oh my God, you have a bomb!" And I think somebody pushed the gate button at the same time somebody detonated the bomb. So that happened May 11th, 2003 at 11:30 p.m. and carried on into May 12th. Um, you can look it up if you want to, but yeah, it's yeah, I was 14. So it's like kind of old enough, I feel like, to kind of be affected by it. Like it was
Very
pretty
much.
scary. Like everything was blown up. The windows of my house were blown in. The sewage tank that we had for the entire compound was completely busted, so we didn't have running water or access to toilets, and I had
That's wild.
horrible food poisoning. And basically, everybody who had a pool in their backyard, that became like, okay, everybody kind of gather around your friend group, and everybody kind of used the pool for like, basic washing needs and stuff like
Mhm.
that.
Oh, man.
Um, and then a week after the bombing, I was back on Kauai. And
I wonder what possessed them to bring y'all back so soon. If you felt the need to take everyone out that fast.
right, I know, and it was just you got the all clear. And for since 9/11, this has been going on. They would evacuate some families, and then you come back, and then it was you can't predict what's
Mhm.
going to happen. You can only go with what information you have. And
Yeah.
so I think the information that came back was it's all clear, we got it figured out. So let's have everybody come home. And so we came home, and yeah, uh,
Did
people
everyone
died.
survive? Was anybody injured?
No, some people died. I think the death toll, I can't remember exactly how much, but we did have a lot of injured people. Um, there was some pretty gruesome things that was around where the bombing site was. The other thing was is once they bombed, they came into the compound. We had security towers on each corner, and they
Hmm.
went up into those security towers and started shooting inside of the compound. So it was not just a bombing, but also we were getting shot at. And so yeah, I just remember like I'm sleeping, I'm feverish and just sick,
Hmm.
and these bombs are going off. So I go underneath my blanket thinking like I'm
Oh my God.
hallucinating. My dad
Hmm.
comes in, and he's like, he grabs me out of bed and he throws me in his closet with my mom and my sister, and you just hear gunshots and helicopters and fire and screaming, and my friends in other compounds who were, just a couple of miles away heard it all, you know. Um, So, and then a week after we had to leave again
Hmm.
because it's just not safe. So we went back to Kauai, and things got a lot worse.
Really?
Yeah. So the first night we're there,
Hmm.
um, we have jet lag because you got to understand, Middle East to Hawaii, oh my God. So we have jet lag, right?
Was
Me
it
and my
like
sister.
13, 15 hours?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I'm like, I don't feel well. My back hurts.
Hmm.
I am just jet lagged, and it's like so late at night. I cannot get comfortable.
Hmm.
My sister, who is 4 years younger than me, she's laying on the floor on like a air mattress. I'm like, whatever. I go down there with her and I lay down. My grandmother, who she had my mom very young too, so she's very young. So at the time she was only like, I want to say in her 40s or 50s.
Yeah.
So she had a boyfriend. He came stumbling in, super drunk, late that night, saw my sister and I laying on the floor, and came up above us, kind of, and then screamed, boom, really loud. First night we were there.
Oh my gosh.
And I like told my mom because I was like, that morning, she was like, why are you up? Because she got up to go to the bathroom, right? She was like, why are you up? And then like, went back to bed. And then in the morning I was like, I'm 14 and I didn't usually curse around my mom because you get popped in the mouth.
Hmm.
But I just like blurted out, F Kevin, F him, F him. I hate him.
Hmm.
She's like, you had better have a good reason for talking like that. And so I told her what happened, and she confronted her mom, and her mom was like, "Get out." So we had to go live with my grandfather for a week or two, and then we moved back to Oklahoma, where we hadn't been in 8 years.
Hang
And
on, hang on, hang on. Hold on. Okay, so your mom's parents are divorced or separated, or did they ever be married? Were they ever
no,
married?
yeah, they were divorced.
Okay, and your grandmother is in an abusive ship.
Yeah,
Physically, you don't know, right? You don't know if there was any physical violence.
nobody
You
knows.
for
Yeah,
sure know that
yeah,
it's abuse because anybody who does that, for sure.
yeah.
And because she sided with the boyfriend. That's also kind of like a telltale sign. I think that people mis misinterpret that a lot
They do.
because you look at the person who's being abused and their aggression towards anyone who's trying to talk about it as them being stupid, when in a lot, if not a high percentage of the situation is, if I talk to you about this, it's going to endanger you, the person who's trying to figure out what's going on. And because they're so emotionally taxed, like I can imagine that your grandmother was so emotionally exhausted with that man. She didn't know how to tell your mother, you guys should leave. This is obviously not going to be as safe a space for you as I thought. I could be wrong, but just from conversations and my experience, at the end of the day, the person being abused often seems aggressive towards anyone trying to help because the person trying to help doesn't know the kind of danger they're putting themselves in. And because I love you so much, I don't want to see anything happen to you because of the decision that I made to be with this person. And because I'm not mentally ready to leave because of whatever crazy cycle that they go on with us and our mind, or because it's not a safe time for me to leave. I don't want you inserting yourself in this problem. And then you got the family that's like, no, I want to da da da. I'm like, but I really don't,
Yeah.
because then I'm going to have the guilt of if something happens to you, that's
Happens.
on me.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine how emotionally exhausted your grandmother was, if not exhausted on
Everybody,
every level.
everybody, everybody's emotionally exhausted at this point. Everything is high charge. And her other
Mhm.
standpoint was, you guys shouldn't have been in that country to begin with. And, there's that too, but it's like, life is
Yeah.
life and it's lifing.
Hmm.
So I don't
Hmm.
know. Um,
But it
so
does sound like your grandmother has a history of, I mean, it's your grandmother. It's That's the generation of our parents and their parents went through a lot, especially as women. They put up with a lot, especially as women. And so she's there, and her mindset, I can see why it's such a closed mindset of you shouldn't have been in that, because now all I'm doing is all of whatever I received as a kid and growing up, I wasn't able to communicate and process it in a healthy way. So I just give it to you instead of.
yeah, and I also wonder what kind of generational trauma is
Mhm.
passed down from my
Mhm.
family.
Mhm.
So I don't know, like, I feel like this actually does kind of attribute to what all went on with like family drama and family anger.
Mhm.
So I am super duper mixed. Um, my my mother is Native Hawaiian and part
Mhm.
Black and Chinese, and then my dad, he's white. He's from Pennsylvania. Um, but on my mom's side, so
He's
Her,
like, ooh, look at that melanin right
I know,
there.
her mother is Hawaiian and Black. So my
Mhm.
great grandfather was a Black man from Georgia who was in the Korean War
Wow.
as a chef. And then his platoon, I think, was made up of a bunch of Hawaiian guys who were like, hey, why go back to Georgia? Like, why would you do that? Come to Hawaii. So he like comes to Hawaii, meets my grandmother, who is Native Hawaiian Chinese, my
Hmm.
great grandmother. And at the time, this is during a time when Hawaii is becoming a state.
Hmm.
We had been dealing with annexation, we had been dealing with the loss of our culture, our language, the Americanization of it all. And so you've got two people, right, who come from these very intense, very American
Traumas.
traumas, right?
Mhm.
Um, inflicted by America.
Limitations. Yeah. The land
And
of the free, the home of the brave.
so you've got that, right? And then you've got like you're coming together, you're making a family and you're trying to build a family and you're still becoming. And my grandmother grew up in a time, she was born in the 50s when I don't even think Hawaii was a state when she was
Mhm.
born because I don't think she has a a birth certificate. I think it
Wow.
became I think it became a state like 2 or 3 years after she was born.
Okay.
Um, so you've got all of this. You've got wartime trauma. You've got, you know, oppressive trauma.
1959.
Yeah,
Hawaii became a state in 1959.
yeah. So she was definitely born before that.
Okay.
And so, yeah, you've got like, this is real human trauma
Yes.
that wasn't, that no, there was no vocab to talk about
Yes.
it back then. There was no, oh, I have anxiety. There was no, I'm feeling, depressed because there
Hmm.
was none of that.
Hmm.
So I often wonder, what kind of generational trauma came
For sure.
from just that part. And then on my grandfather's side, it was Chinese and white
Hmm.
and specifically Irish, but doing my
Wow.
genealogy, I found out my family was actually Melungeon, which comes from Appalachia, and it's just a bunch of mixed people
Yeah.
who were like persecuted. And you have two
What?
different types where you have because they were just mixed people. They were just like you had Native Americans, Turkish, you had just like a bunch of like
Hmm.
people that kind of escaped and cruised up to Appalachia and then just like kind of cruised hung up out there. So you have these fair-skinned, light eyes, dark-haired people, and then you have dark-skinned, light-haired, light-eyed people.
Mm.
And just depending on what your mix was, come to find out, so we come from the fair, the fair people. Um, because they were being persecuted so hard because of just being mixed, because they were fair, they did what's known as social passing and
Hmm.
left, and they became white, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So there's a lot of history that's missing from there. And that also creates that generational trauma.
Hmm. Because it's like
Apparently,
y'all were minding y'all's own business in like just getting along, not caring about anything about race, and then here come folks
just, you know, so, there's, like I said, there's no words.
trying to take over the world. Stay where you at. Okay,
Just,
we ain't doing nothing to nobody.
we just trying to eat our food, hang out.
Oh
Like,
my, that's crazy. Yeah. Oh
so
my gosh, the amount of trauma in your
trauma, trauma, trauma.
like
And then
layered.
and then too, you have to add on to the fact that I come from people, even on my dad's side, we do not have money. right? My dad, he wanted to be a pilot since he was a tiny, tiny child, and that's what he did.
Hmm.
Um, my mom, I think she had lots of dreams of her own. And then, like I said, she had me pretty quick, so she kind of became
Yeah.
like a stay-at-home mom. And that also, that causes a lot of trauma and resentment too, because y- you're 20 years old and you have a baby. You don't get to go out and party. You don't get to go out and have adventure. You don't get to go. And then your husband is out, gallivanting on his planes, flying around. Like, wouldn't that annoy you a little bit? Like that?
Yes. You out there in the sky all the time. When you gonna come down here and help me take care of these kids? You literally, like, he gets to go clear his mind in one of the best ways possible.
Yeah. And I mean, he got to travel, and like, yeah, so,
Golly.
so,
Yeah.
I mean, there is, you
Hmm.
have to acknowledge,
You have to.
and you have to acknowledge not just the trauma that you got yourself, not that you got yourself into like an abusive situation,
Hmm.
but like that you ended up in an abusive situation, but there is a lot of context that comes with it. So I'm a geologist, right?
Hmm.
My job is to study rocks and understand rocks and their chemistry, their physics, all the things about rocks. The thing with rocks is when you have a rock in your hand, that is the result. And now it is your job to figure out the context that got that rock to your hand. And that's the
Hmm.
same thing with people who find themselves in abusive situations.
Hmm.
And so one of the reasons I wanted to come on here is because I am a scientist. I I think I get a lot of like my science engineering stuff from my dad.
Hmm.
Um, but it was also a very big contributor to why and how I was abused.
Hmm. Before we get into that, and I really do want to get into that, how is your relationship growing up with your dad?
So I am like the daddy girl,
Hmm.
but the thing that sucked and sucks about our relationship is that he was always coming and going, not
Hmm.
like, like because of his job, you
Yeah.
know, and there was nothing you could do about it. So there were too many times when we had to take him to the airport and like say goodbye and like we don't know when we're gonna see you again.
Yeah.
And it's been like that my whole life. And, you know, all of a sudden you're an adult and now you're moving away. And so I have a great relationship with my dad, but it sucks because there's just been so much coming and going.
Yeah.
And okay, that also causes trauma because we left after the bombing and my dad had to stay.
Right.
So the whole time I'm like, what if he gets bombed again?
Hmm.
And as a child, you start to spiral and you're carrying a lot of weight that you
You
shouldn't
shouldn't.
be.
Hmm.
We moved 6 times in 2 years across the world. I went to 3 different schools in that time. We moved back to Oklahoma after we moved back to Saudi. We lived there for a year, moved back to Oklahoma. I started my junior year in Oklahoma. We left Oklahoma and moved to Waco, Texas. And I
Wow.
finished up high school in Waco, Texas. So the back and forth, international, state to state, to like it, I had a lot of PTSD
Hmm.
that was not dealt with, not acknowledged.
Hmm.
We grew up in a time too when it was like, you're just gonna have to get over it, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Um, so I kept diaries to get
Hmm.
through it. And I wrote horrible, horrible, dark teenage poetry that used the word crimson maybe too many times. And, but it would actually become one of the things that brought me out of the trauma bond that I was in with my ex.
Hmm.
So, because I found these journals and I was reading and I was like, who was, teenager KYLA?
Wow.
And I was like, wait, what? Um,
Isn't it amazing how in the moment it's so intense, the feeling of who I am, what I'm going through. And then as an adult, you look back and you're like, that was us? That was
well, the thing is I'm very impressed by her
wow.
and her writing skills. If I take myself out and I just, as a
Mhm.
professional author and look at it, I'm like, damn, kid. But I'll get to that a little bit more because I'm getting ahead of myself.
Okay, put a pin in
So,
it.
so after high school, I decide, well, I've just had enough, so I'm gonna run away with my boyfriend and I'm gonna go party and I'm not gonna do anything except be an artist and, like F the patriarchy and like, just like
Wow.
so um there was a lot of partying, a lot of raving, a lot of yeah, doing lots of bad stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um Lots of unemployment. I graduated in 2007, so '08 happened and there was no jobs. And I was living in Texas and I had no experience. So
Hmm. What are
there
we
was
gonna
like no work. So me and my boyfriend were living in his parents' house playing Guitar Hero. Like
do? Come through, Guitar Hero.
so we are desperately unemployed.
Wow.
Um, get to the point where I actually went through homelessness and yeah, me and this guy got into like some sticky situations. We're hanging out with people we shouldn't be hanging out with, as sheltered,
Mhm.
traumatized young punk alternative kids do.
Right,
Um,
right.
we end up boomeranging back to his parents' house. Mind you, his parents' house is right next to a cornfield in the middle of nowhere. You can't get internet out there, so it's basically 93 back
Yeah.
there, so you're working on art, you're not really doing anything. My ex decides, I'm going to join the military. And I was like, yes, get us out of here. And so he was like, okay,
Actually surprised at your response after what you've been through with your dad.
I know, but I was desperate to get out. And I thought
Wow.
my lot in life was to be this trad wife, military, because like that's what my mom did. So I was like, yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, like then I'll do it too. And so he joins the military and he does not make it through basic training.
Okay.
He got kicked out. Why? It's still a mystery. He did not fess up to why. But we did get married before
Okay.
he left because, as you do when your person goes to the
Mhm.
military, he comes back and my family is not down. They're like, what do you mean you didn't make it through basic? We come from all the military. So what do
Right.
you mean? And I'm mad because I thought this was my ticket out of Texas. I was like, oh my God. We end up we were married basically 8 months.
Uh-huh.
And then that was like, I am so done with you. I have to take this. I have to take this into my own hands. I cannot be here anymore. So we break up and I'm like, Dad, I'm gonna join the military. And he was like, you come on now.
Oh,
First, he goes, you don't have upper body strength. Go, hey, I can work on that. And he goes, okay. He goes, word, okay. He goes, can you be shot at? And I go, yes, I can. He was
I've
like,
already been shot at, Dad.
he was like, okay, bad example, bad example. He goes, bad example, okay. Can you shoot someone?
Ooh,
And I go,
okay.
no. And he goes, it doesn't matter what branch of the military you go in, there is always a chance you're going to have to shoot at someone. And he goes, what's the first thing that comes in your head? And I go, that's somebody's dad. That's somebody's brother. That's
Mhm.
somebody's friend. That's somebody's child. Like, I can't. I was like, then what am I going to do? Because at this point, I'm a burnout. I'm a loser. I have no career prospects. I have no skills except for drawing and painting and modeling. I was modeling at the time. And I was like, I have nothing. What am I supposed to do? I have undiagnosed ADHD. I have undiagnosed dyscalculia, so I cannot do math. What am I supposed to do? And he goes, KYLA, just go to community college, take
Mhm.
some classes and see what happens. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll do it. So I went and I did it. And I was like, I guess I'll just go for art because that's all I've ever known my whole life is
Mhm.
art. And I go, okay, I have to figure something out. I cannot live in Waco, Texas. I cannot keep doing this. I'm not happy. I feel like a loser all the time. I have no money and it's just, I hate this life.
Mhm.
Um, I hate it. And so I start from the very bottom at community college. I mean, like the most elementary math is where I started and
Mhm.
started taking a bunch of classes like my dad said, and it was mostly art, but I had to take a science credit. And I was like, I'm bad at science. Oh boy.
Wow.
So I was like, I'll take environmental science because how hard can that be? Turns out very hard. Um, but I was really good at it. Like,
Mhm.
I was like, whoa, this is so rad. I am so into it.
Wow.
Started bothering the professor. I was like, yo, how do I, get into it? And I'm like, I'm scared because I've never been good at science and I'm really
Mhm.
bad at math. And he's like, no, it's okay. Why don't you take the advanced course for the environmental science, see how you do? I kill it. He's like, okay, how about you take these two geology classes that you're really not supposed to take at the same time, but you got it. And
Mhm.
so I take these geology classes and I'm like, oh my gosh. And he's like, okay, how about you go on this geology field course with us where we get in a van and we cruise through Utah, Arizona, and New Mexico. And we go on dinosaur digs and we go to the national parks. You want to come? And I was like, yes.
Right.
By the time I am back, which was the summer of 2013, I had finished my field course and I was like, that's it. I have
Wow.
to be a geologist. Like I have to. If I don't, then no, no, that's not a possibility. Like I have to. My parents divorced
Oh.
and it's okay. So my mom moves back to Hawaii because as she does. And and
Roots.
I know.
Roots
And
run
so
deep.
it's 2011 going into 2012. My dad sends me back to Hawaii. Hadn't been there since the dude yelled at me about the bomb. Okay. So it's been like almost a decade.
Yeah.
And no, it had been a decade. It was a decade. It was nearly a decade. So I
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
and I'm like, hey, um, I think I'll just like, I'll forgive my grandma and I'll talk to her. I hadn't talked to her since then. I was like,
Wow. You
hey,
haven't talked to your grandmother in 10 years?
yeah. So I was like, it's time to let go of the past and, talk to her. So I talked to her. I hung out with her and she was like, I heard that you want to study geology. Have you thought about a university you want to go to? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know. And she goes, what do you want to study? And I go, volcanoes in space. And she goes, why don't you go to the Big Island? And I was like, how am I going to pay for that? She was like, are you not Native Hawaiian? And I go, yeah. She's like, yes, you are. You have a heritage fund. Part of the annexation of Hawaii was every Hawaiian has access to education. And all you have to do is legitimize your family bloodline and they'll help you out. So I call up the university and they're like, oh, yeah, yeah, just here's the paperwork you need to submit, prove it to us, and you can come home as a non-resident resident, meaning you don't pay out of state tuition.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll give you Pell Grants to help you along the way. And if your grades are, if you keep your grades up, those Pell Grants will get a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
And so sure enough, I was like, all right, bye. Um, and I got on a plane and I was on the Big Island of Hawaii in 2014, about to live like this crazy ultimate dream of hanging out on volcanoes and studying space. And I am like so sure that I'm not gonna make it. Like I'm like, do I
Wow.
even fit in? I'm kind of ghetto. Like like I do be doing crazy things. like like these kids, these students have been dreaming
Yeah.
of science their whole life,
Yeah.
you know? I have not. So I am like,
Yeah.
I just got off of like 3 years of like a few years of partying, So I'm
Yes.
like, I don't know
Yep.
if I'm gonna be good at this.
Mm-hmm.
So my first week of university, I have severe dyscalculia, which is dyslexia for math.
Mm-hmm.
And I was only diagnosed with it like 2 years ago. And then it
Wow.
was like, oh my God.
That
Um,
makes sense now. Wow.
yeah. So, so I take my first real geology class, and there was a lot of math. And I was like, oh no, I really want to be a geologist. Like, I can't do anything else. So I am
Mm-hmm.
committed. I'm like, okay, I'm going to take this math homework and I'm going to go to a tutor and I'm going to get it done. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, cool. I go to the tutoring center and I turn around, and the tutor is this guy who was in my class, and I'm immediately angry. I'm like immediately angry.
Mm-hmm.
And so I walk up to him. I'm like, this is so lame. He's gonna tell everybody I suck. And I'm just like anxious, right? I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so you're the math tutor. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, can you help me, I guess, with this geology homework? And he was like, yeah. He was like, actually, yeah, like totally. And so like we're going through it. And I don't know, I am like not vibing on this guy. I'm like, I don't know why, but I hate you. Like, like I I just don't like you. And then like I'm like showing him this, like I'm like, this is how like I was told to put this equation in my calculator and I'm putting too many parentheses, and he's getting all irritated and he's like, stop doing that. And I look up at him like, and like I don't know, I'm like looking at him, I'm like, I just ugh, but you are so cute. Why? Like ugh.
Oh my goodness.
So the years go on and me and this guy become actually really good friends.
Hmm.
And he's in my geology program. So we're going on geology field courses together. So we're having to go, part of geology is you got to travel to where the rocks are.
Yeah.
It's a very
You got-
hands-on,
Yeah.
yeah. So you got to travel, you got to do field courses, which is like you're in the field, you're learning how to be a geologist, and it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of drinking, and there's like
Hmm.
it's so fun. And
Hmm.
me and him were just friends, like, and I am just so in love with him. And like, it just never worked out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm super serious about my school, and I had a boyfriend. He was always with someone. And it was just like, okay, we'll just be friends. And I didn't really think he liked me anyway. And he graduated a semester before me and then left and went to go pursue a PhD elsewhere.
Mhm.
And so I was like, well, that's that,
There's
maybe in
that.
another life.
Mm.
Right. So then I graduate and they don't tell you, this happened to me when I graduated my PhD also. They don't tell you when you graduate, you kind of like, at least in my experience, I spiraled. I didn't have like this foundation anymore.
Mhm.
And I'm just kind of like, okay,
Wow.
go out there. Um, I had been doing stuff with NASA. I had been doing stuff um, with my university. I'd been walking on lava. I had been doing a lot of research already as an undergrad. And so it was, I got an internship offer from this place I had been interning for a while already. And then eventually after that, I turned into a job. Well, I'm, graduated and I'm starting this internship and I'm having a great time doing all kinds of stuff with lava, having a, just a blast. And I start dating this man that I should not have been dating. He was much older than me.
How much older?
He was my mom's age.
20 years.
He was a
22
Vulcan,
years.
he was a volcanologist. And so I think I was like into his job.
Pause. You said you were dating a man that you should not have been dating.
Hmm.
Let's put the accountability on this grown man who knew exactly what he was doing by entertaining you. Because in 2000, what year are we in now?
It was 2016, so I was 28.
And he's 50,
No, he's
60,
48. He was
48.
48.
He's 50,
Yeah,
28,
basically.
48. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're just now roughly a year out of your frontal lobe fully developing, and he has experienced life.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that relationship gaps can't work, but so many times men use their age, their experience, and their position, and women do it too. But
No,
we're talking
yeah.
about men right here. So they use their age, their experience, their position to play on the emotions of someone younger because I'm fairly certain that he knew in his brain you were attracted to his position because he could see how much you loved what you were doing.
Ooh,
He knew
girl.
exactly how in love you were with your work by being around you.
Oh, girl.
And so now you're putting the responsibility on you as a 28-year-old when we just said in the beginning of the conversation your mom was 27, 28 when y'all moved to a different country
Yeah.
overseas, and you just said in the same conversation that she was still very young and she hadn't experienced anything and she wasn't
Yeah.
as mature as you would think a 28 or 27-year-old would be because our concept of maturity is so warped in, I don't know if it's every culture, but in America for sure it's
It
warped.
is. Yeah.
So this man is old enough to be your father,
Yes.
and he knows he's old enough to be your father,
Yeah.
which means he's had your father's worth of experience in life, especially doing what he's doing. And so now all he has to do is put the honey down and let the flies come flying.
And that's exactly what happened because he took me to do all kinds of crazy things that because he had access to the volcano, so I was able to go do these things that people don't get to do.
Hmm. Because he saw how in love you were with your work.
And I am like the biggest geology nerd. And I am dying to go on all the adventures. And I'm dying to, and like, yes, I did put myself like accountable for it because I was 28, and it was like, But yeah, yeah, now like I'm kind of like freaked out because you just said, like I said, my mom was so young, but then also like, yeah, so I don't know. That one's gonna, I'm gonna have to unpack that. Um,
Yes. Because I mean, I'm with you. There is a certain level of responsibility because there is a certain level of maturity, and you're aware of the age difference. But at the same time, are you really aware of the age difference? Because you're 28, you're like, ah, I have reached a level of
yeah,
grownness that I think I'm more mature than I am. I even look back now and I'm like, man, if I would have had a baby at 28, I still don't think I should have had a baby at 20, you know? And so when we're in that age group because we've graduated college, we're out of college for several years now, we're starting to lean less towards the partying and more towards the mature lifestyle. Your
yeah,
brain is like, I'm maturing, I can manage this mature relationship. But we have completely lost sight of the fact that he's double matured than you, even still. And why is
yeah,
he attracted to a 28-year-old? You're still a baby at 28. As an adult now, I'm like, you're still so young at 28 and you have so much life left to live. And
yeah.
this man is knocking on 50, if not already 50. And it's like,
No, and
shouldn't you?
he got really possessive and was like, you don't
Mhm.
really have to work. Like, I make enough money. And it's
Mhm.
like, I didn't become, like, I did not get my geology degree to be a geologist's wife. You
Mhm.
feel me? Like, I became, like, I had
Mhm.
been doing stuff with NASA. I was
Yes.
like, I have so much left to go. Just so happened in the middle of all of this, here comes that guy I'm in love with sliding into my DMs.
Ooh.
And I was like, oh no. And I,
The tutor?
yeah, and I told him, I was like, yeah, like I really was like into you, like I have a huge crush on you and stuff like that, but you left and I'm already dating this other guy and I kind of love him and yeah, like it's just not gonna work. You're already gone too. And he was like, no, I quit my PhD and I'm living with my mom right now, but like I'm, I I just can't stop thinking about you. Can I come visit? And I was like, no. As tempting as that is, no. Because I'm dating this other person. And I just like left it at that. Day later, he's back in my DMs and he's like, I asked a mutual friend of ours and my neighbor, if I could come stay with them for a week. So I hope that's okay. And I was like, they're literally my next door neighbors. And I was like, well, I guess you're coming. So, okay, I guess I'll see you. And so he came and it was so odd. Like I was really excited because like remember I really, really like I was
Mhm.
really in love with this person. So he violated my boundaries, yes, because I said no. But I was also like, okay, so the day that he arrives, I had to go to work. I get off and I go outside to wait for him because we were gonna meet outside. And he sees me and runs to me and gives me a huge hug and says, sorry it took me so long to get here. And I was like confused. I was like, huh? Like I didn't ask. Um, um, and so then we decide, okay, like we're living in Hilo on the Big Island, small town, so you can walk literally anywhere. And
Mhm.
so we were like, okay, let's go to the local tavern and like we'll hang out and talk. And so like we're just talking and like everything is just so freaking amazing. And I'm already very much enamored with this person. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, obviously, like, no, I'm not going to stay with this other guy. So I break up with him pretty immediately and I want to be with this guy.
Let me just say something though. Pause before we get on this guy, Mr. Tutor. The older gentleman, like the red flag, the alert now that I see is when someone's like, "Oh, you don't have to work." Like that was going to be a setup for an abusive ship. All of
Oh,
like,
it was.
but they give it to you in such a way that it sounds like I'm doing you a favor. You don't have to worry about a thing, little pretty lady. I'm going to take care of all of this. I just want you to enjoy life and not have the responsibility and stress of blah 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 blah. But that's my way of letting you know that I'm going to open this door to control you and then I'm going to close it and you can't do anything about it.
And here's the thing, I clocked all of that. That's the crazy thing. I clocked all of that because there was like this moment where he called me and I was
Mm.
like, whoa. What?
Now what?
And he was like, yeah, and when he was like, he had said something like, you're only going to get into grad school because someone thinks you're hot. It's not because I was
Wow.
like,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
okay, well, now you're on my list
Okay.
of people that I'm going to prove wrong. So goodbye. And like, that's the thing, because remember, Mama said knock you out. I
Yeah.
do not tolerate, I got suspended from school back in Saudi for beating up a boy because he had been harassing me and bothering me for like over a year and
Wow.
nothing got done about it. So my mom said,
Yep.
bring out the LL Cool J. I don't know. So, so, so that's what we did. You got to listen to your mama. I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so I am not I do not tolerate
Hmm.
already at this point in my life, nothing from dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've already lived in a place where women are oppressed.
Yes.
We not doing this. So I
Right.
already clocked it and I was like, yeah, no.
You got
It
it. Hmm.
Now I will have to say tutor boy is 8 years older than me,
Okay.
which isn't does it's not as big as an age gap,
Hmm.
but 8 years actually turned out to be kind of a big age gap, enough of an age gap for it to be problematic.
Hmm.
Um, so he me and him, he's in Hawaii visiting me for a week,
Easy work.
and it's the most magical time. I
Of
mean, like
course.
everything. He understands my sandpaperiness with my abrasiveness. He understands my music taste. He understands just everything about me.
Hmm.
And he's saying, like he is old enough that I'm like, yeah, you've got your life together. You were in a PhD program. You were, he's like, yes, and I've already been living life as an adult. I've already been, already has experiences, but not 20 years more.
Right. Right. Right.
Um,
Right.
so I'm
Why
like,
did he
okay.
quit his PhD and move back in with his parents?
He said because he was going to the University of Houston and they was racist. At the time, his girlfriend that he was with was black, and he felt that they were racist. But here's the thing, whether that's true or not, he's also a known liar. So that's the excuse he gave. That is not what I think happened.
I mean, does racism really, because you're dating somebody, is it that crazy? Because we're talking about Texas.
We
Black
are talking
people,
about something.
he's not black, right?
No, he's
So,
white.
if anything, in Texas, they're going to be racist towards the blacks.
Yes, they are.
That caused you to quit your PhD because you were
But
dating somebody black.
it was that was part, yeah, it was that. And also he wanted to go to like bring big oil down, but you went to a big oil school.
Mm,
Honestly, I think what happened was he just couldn't hack it. Not
yeah,
everybody can do the PhD. If somebody was like, yo, you want to do that again? I would be like, no, absolutely not.
yeah,
No, God, no. Um, and that's okay.
yeah.
Like, just say that. It's
Let's be
okay.
honest. Hmm.
Yeah. Not everybody needs it. And he was like, yeah, I want to go into education and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, like that's awesome. Um, and he was like, so I'm gonna go back to my parents' house, but I want to move back to Hawaii. And I was like, oh, cool, yeah, I can help you look for a place, and like, yeah, this will be great. And he goes, I was just gonna move in with you. And I was like, but we just started dating. And he was like, but we've been friends for 3 years. And I was like, yeah, okay. And he was like, it'll be a few months before I can come out anyway. so we can date from a distance. And I was like, okay, that's fair. Because he was like, I have to make some money. And I was like, okay, that's fair. I can start my job and I can make some money and start getting us like a foundation going. And yeah, I think like dating from a distance will be okay. Yeah, he moved in with me a month later, like a legit month later.
To the
That's like
audience watching this, are y'all seeing this unfold? Like the play was in play the moment he slid in your
play
DMs.
was in play. No, the play was in play when we were friends. I swear.
You think
Because
so?
I do, because when we were on a field course, my professor was like, "Hey, Kyla, what did you tell us about yourself? We know you lived in like all these places." So I started telling the story about the bombing, and he was sitting in the front, and he immediately snapped around and was like, "Tell me more."
Trauma, you say?
Let me get my notebook.
My pipe. Jethro, bring me my pipe. We've got trauma on the menu. I'm so done. Okay, wait. Because now I need a time frame. So, y'all were friends for 3 years.
hmm From 2014 to until like, we started dating in 2017.
So, when he left to go to get his PhD in Texas, y'all still consider yourselves friends, but y'all stopped communicating, or y'all were kind of
Yeah,
still
it was
communicating?
like no, we weren't really communicating. Like we had talked here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I had published my first paper as an undergrad, so I was like sharing it with all my college friends. So it was
Mm-hmm.
just Facebook, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, just Facebook, and then
Or
hadn't
is it?
really right, and hadn't really heard from him
Right.
until he slid into my DMs,
Now,
and
okay, I need a timestamp for this. So he went to go get his PhD in what year?
it was 2016.
16. He slid into your DMs in 2017. Okay, so not y'all weren't even separated as friends for a year. Okay,
Yeah.
this makes sense now. Okay, because in my brain, I'm like, oh, some time has passed. He's gone. Now you're kind of, but y'all were really just, he left and he came back. So he didn't even pursue his PhD for more than a year.
No, well, not even more than a semester. I think it was just a
Wow.
semester. Hey, look, man, like I said, the PhD programs, they is not for the weak.
Mm.
And, honestly,
That's
they're
fair.
not really for the strong either. Like,
That's fair. But let me tell you where my brain is going. Not on a case of, oh, you just couldn't cut it. My brain is like, I'm going off to school to pursue my PhD. I get into a relationship with a girl, and now all of a sudden I'm calling racism. Perhaps it wasn't racism. Perhaps I started letting my true colors show and they weren't standing for it. And so now I got to go.
oh my God,
Unpack that.
he did mention her mama did not like him. But like, why would she? Like,
Mamas usually know. Most moms who don't like
no.
somebody usually don't like somebody for a reason.
I know that now. I really know that
I know that
now.
now too. But
But but yeah, that was one thing that he said was
mhm,
that her mom did not like him. And what's weird was like I also got kind of like this feeling of like, okay, her mama was black too. And I know that because my grandma is black and she sees
mhm,
everything like
mhm,
through your soul. Like so I even remember kind of being like a little like triggered by him saying that. Like I was
mhm,
like, oh,
mhm.
no, no, it's fine. It's fine. It's
Mm-mm,
fine.
it's not.
No, Kyla, listen.
Mhm,
Like, listen. But I'm
mhm,
so enamored with this man, okay? And
mhm,
I'm just so in love with him. And I just think I have this idea of who he is, right?
mhm.
And he's just so perfect.
Because he's your first picture of stability.
Yes, he was promising me a lot of stability. We're gonna be this power couple. He told my best friend, watch us soar. And yeah, he, he
Well,
really made me feel like I was about to start this incredible life with
mm-hmm.
this incredible person,
Yes.
and we were going to get married, have
Mm-hmm.
kids, and I was
Mm-hmm.
going to be a scientist, and we were going to help other kids, and it was going to be like everything that I wanted, and I was going to be somebody.
All because you're the host and he's the parasite and he sees the potential in you. Because the time frame of less than a year, you leave, in less than a year you get a girlfriend, and then you break up and you quit the PhD program in less than a year and you're in my DMs. In less
Hmm.
than a week, you're next door to me.
Hmm.
And he knew you were infatuated with you before you told him that.
Yeah, I know. He had to have known. He had to have known.
He
It,
did, especially with him being 8 years older. He definitely knew
that's what I,
because
yeah.
you're you're you were what, freshman, sophomore-ish at the time, maybe
Hmm.
junior when you took those classes with him.
Hmm.
He's your tutor because he's 8 years older than you.
Well, he was a tutor because he was
Really good at it.
he really good at math, really, really good at math. And you can get a job on campus
Hmm.
tutoring if you are really good. But you're still the age gap still matters because he's he showed like this great level of like, yeah, I lived my life and had all these adventures and decided a little bit later that I was going to go to back to school. And I had decided to go to college a little bit later too. I was
Hmm.
22 when I started. That's still young,
Hmm.
so young. I don't know why I thought I was like some old lady in college. Like, hello. He
Because
was,
you're starting when people are graduating,
yes.
and our
And
brains
so,
are warped at that age.
exactly. But so many people were my age.
Hmm.
It wasn't just me. So I'm thinking, this guy, he's had a successful adulthood here. He's going to make a successful adulthood now. And it's just, this is going to be so great. And I finally found the person I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. And I, he comes, he moves back to Hawaii. And the day I go pick him up from the airport, he is agitated and irate and like in a mood. And
Hmm.
I'm like, and he's like really mad because he had to sit next to two bigger people and he felt that he was smooshed the whole time. And he was just really angry about it. And I was like, oh, okay. Um, let's go back to the house. And so it was like really tense. And I'm
Hmm.
like, okay. And then we go back to my house and we're sitting there and it's very quiet. And I'm just like very awkward. And I'm like, okay, it's so awkward. I was like, I think maybe he's just like anxious and like we're going from friends to like lovers and like this is all so weird and now you're in my house and this is just really weird, right? And I'm just like so like, oh, and I, made you uncomfortable, like, eh. And he's just so tense and so frustrated. And I'm like, hey, I have to go sign some paperwork at my job so that I can start because I was going to start as an actual employee like the next week.
Hmm.
And I was like, I got to go sign these papers. Will you come with me? He waits in the car, but he's just so rigid. I go and I sign the papers and I come back and we go back to my house. And finally he loosens up. And then it's back to that crazy whirlwind love
Hmm.
that we had when he came to visit. And so I'm like, okay, awkwardness is finally over. He had a long trip, you know, he threw up. And I was like, oh, man, anxiety, that sucks. No, he's an alcoholic and I didn't know it. Um, So he goes, I'm coming, I don't have a job yet, but I'm not coming destitute. He's like, I have some money. And I go, oh, okay. And he goes, it's $400. And I go, in Hawaii, okay, that
Yeah.
is not money.
$400 anywhere is not money.
It's not money. So I was like, okay, yeah, I can float us because I just got a big person job and I am a real scientist. I'm gonna be a scientist. I don't have a PhD, I just have an undergraduate degree, but because I did all this stuff with NASA, now I'm like employable. Okay, so this is gonna be okay. I'm not making any money that's like helpful at all, but that's okay. We're gonna do this. He took a substitute teacher course. Hawaii is notorious for being very slow, so they didn't get his paperwork done. A lot of people actually just left because the people that wanted to do this substitute program, they were like, it's taking too long
Hmm.
and we can't survive here. And so the thing is like he would work like these little jobs here and there, but then like quit. So for the most part, he was unemployed for the first 4 years of our relationship.
4 years.
And like I said, he worked here and there. He had a job, but he would either get fired or quit. And so for the majority of the time in those 4 years, at least I was the one paying the bills. Always. And, I would come home from work. My job is very labor intensive, very mental intensive.
Hmm.
And he would be passed out on the floor drunk. And and I realized this only like a couple weeks ago, but the more successful I would become, because my career skyrocketed. I am pretty good at what I do.
Hmm.
And I really am super passionate about it. So I put everything I have into it. And so my job, I was showing up on TV, I was showing up on the news, I was publishing papers, I was going to conferences, I was doing these amazing things. People asking me to come present my research, all around the island and on Zoom to like other, states and countries and stuff. And I'm thinking he's depressed because of some things that had happened in his family and he's drinking more because of those trauma things. And no, no. After we broke up, I made a timeline of things, and the pattern that appears is massive jealousy. And I have a great story to tell you. I have a great story to tell you of exactly how this, because right now you're probably thinking, like, this doesn't sound abusive, KYLA. No.
No, 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 no. Let me tell you what I'm thinking right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay.
What I'm thinking right now is the timeline between going to get his PhD, getting a girlfriend, and coming back and sliding into your DMs. The timeline between the DM slide to, oh, well, I'm going to go stay with your neighbor, even though you said you don't really think it's
No,
okay. I'm going to make it
yeah,
okay. Then the timeline between you seeing him re-triggering the emotion in you about the part of him that he displayed to you for you to fall in love with, only to come back a month later and immediately show you, because now he knows he's in, immediately show you what you're getting into. But because he knows your heart, your character, and the person that you are, and the trauma that you've been through, he knows that you're not going to do anything to cause him extra discomfort. So you're going to eat that. Even though that was the flag came when he slid into your DMs and he shows
yeah,
up next week next door to you.
yeah,
I'm saying that for anyone who's watching, not to make you feel bad for the situation, but to show people this is an educational conversation.
yeah.
That is a huge flag. And like you said, he completely disregarded your boundaries. You said no. You
I
can't, you
did.
literally can't stop the man from coming to stay with your neighbor because it's not your house.
Exactly.
Had
Exactly.
no space to prevent him from doing it. It didn't matter how many times you said no. He just needed to reopen that door to re-trigger the the person that he presented himself as for you to fall back into those feelings that you had. But then we're like, okay, the abuse starts immediately because as you're telling me this and as you're saying the jealousy is and you're now seeing outside of it that it was related to the jealousy of your career and he's getting more and more drunk, all I'm thinking about is your grandmother's boyfriend.
Yep.
And I'm like, she is back in the cycle
Back into
that
it.
she desperately got kicked out of
Yes.
and didn't know that she was getting herself here. But all that happened, he knew the moment he slid in your DMs, he was going to be out there in 2 months. He knew it. He knew it. There's no question about it because there's no way I'm gonna show up and then be like, oh well, I'm just gonna. He's showing you in the first 4 years of y'all's relationship, he'd never had a consistent job. His instability didn't come because he's now back in Hawaii. His instability was always there, and he knew that I'm just gonna tell her I'm gonna stay here for 3 months. Get some. He had no plan of staying where he was for 4 months at his parents' house when he had already, I don't want to say forced because we all make our own decisions, but he indirectly positioned you in such a way that made you feel uncomfortable to say no
Yeah.
because you're leaning on y'all's friendship. And he
Hmm.
played into that when you said, well, we've only been dating for a month. He's, yeah, but we've been friends for years. I'm
Yes.
going to give us a couple of more months at a distance so that now you think psychologically, this does make sense. I still have a little bit of time of my space as I'm grounding myself in this new life that I finally have. You're finally literally where you desperately wanted to be when you were in Waco, Texas.
Yep.
Finally get there.
Exactly.
And
So,
he
right.
sees host.
Here and here's the thing about that. I'm finally where I want to be, right? But
Mhm.
now I have to prove myself. I am still rough around the edges.
Mhm.
Now you are a scientist, Kyla. You might not have your PhD. That makes it even worse
Mhm.
because you need to prove to NASA, because my whole work is always directed at NASA. You need to prove to those people that you are worth being in their club. And let me
Mhm.
tell you, you are a mixed girl
Mhm. Talk
trying to
to
work
him.
for NASA
Yes.
who have historically not been about anybody other than white dudes. Sorry, but
White
come
men.
on.
No, no, no. It is what it is. You're a girl and you're mixed.
And a mix. Like I'm racially ambiguous. Like like people they're like, "Oh, you're white." But then like black women, it's always black women. They're like,
Because we know, like, ain't no.
"That's why."
Now, it's some melanin up in that sister right there.
But they do. They'll come up to me and go, "Can I ask you a question?" And I go, "Yes." And they're like, "What's your background?"
They love us. Oh my
I
gosh.
know. And
Oh
I'm
my
like,
gosh.
"Yes, Auntie, yes."
Yes.
Yes.
So you have two strikes. Like you're fighting against so much that this should not
But
be.
there's actually three strikes.
Mm,
Because remember, I'm still that burnout kid.
yeah.
I'm still that kid that decided, screw it, I'm going to go party.
Mm-hmm.
I like metal. I like rap. I like being scrappy. I like being, kind of like, I don't know, rough. And now I'm putting myself in a situation where I can't be that rough anymore.
Right.
I have a lot to prove.
Yes.
Remember, I didn't want to be a scientist my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm dying to be a scientist and I want these people to respect me and I want to do actual work and I want to pursue my dreams. So I need to mature. And now I'm with this man who is supposed to be mature. He is 8 years older than me. And in my mind, he is this perfect person and I'm the one who's the problem. So he would do this thing And I realized this like 2 weeks ago. From the moment he moved into my house to the moment he moved out of my house, I haven't slept. He wakes me up.
Mm-hmm.
He would wake me up and say it was an accident,
Mm-hmm.
slam something, turn on a light by accident, make a noise. And I have PTSD from a bombing. I don't sleep already very well. And I haven't dealt with that trauma by the time that he has come
Right.
into my home. I haven't dealt with that trauma. I have undiagnosed ADHD, I have undiagnosed dyscalculia. I have anxiety. I'm trying my best to figure out who do I need to be? Who do I need to be to grow up?
Yeah.
And here he comes. He's taking away my sleep. He's
Mm-hmm.
picking on me. And then I react. And
Mm-hmm.
when I react big because I don't tolerate anything.
Mm-hmm.
But now he's telling me he's going to put me in a hospital. And I'm like Britney Spears? And he's like, yeah, like Britney Spears. And I'm like, what? And I'm going to be so honest with you because I want to be very honest because I am someone who has done NASA stuff. I am someone who has built myself up from nothing to an actual researcher. Yeah, he he would trigger me so badly that okay, so he almost got me evicted from my apartment that I had been in for 3 years. Okay. I had to beg my landlady not to kick me out. She was like, okay, look, I've known you for so long. She was like, she even asked me, she's like, do you have to keep the dude? She's like, who is this guy? I don't like him. I don't like him. He's the reason. I don't like him. And I was like, no, he's really special to me. And she was like, all right, KYLA, all right, I'll give you one more chance. So I'm taking him. He finally starts subbing. The next morning, I'm talking to him. I'm like, I can't believe you did that. I can't believe, like, you know, the neighbors hated him. Like he just was causing all this trouble. And I'm just like, we're 5 minutes walking distance from the school that he was going to go sub at. And I'm going to go, get out of my car. I don't want you in my car. I need space for me. He wouldn't get out. And I was like, get out, get out. And I just start freaking out. Get out, get out. Wouldn't get out. So what do? I hammer punch him a bunch of times like this on his arm.
Mm-hmm.
And I stop and I'm like, what did I just do? Why did I just do that? I
Mm-hmm.
drop him off. I drive back to my house and I call Kaiser because I was on Kaiser. And I go, do you guys have a psychiatrist available? And they were like, yeah, right now, actually. That's weird. Yeah. Do you want to come? And I was like, yes. So I go and I tell them and I'm freaking out and I'm like hyperventilating and I'm crying. And I'm like, I don't know who I am. And like, they're asking me all these questions. Bipolar 2. That's what you have. Okay.
Wait a
Let's
second.
put you on medication.
Wait a second. When you got there, you told them the events that led up to the reactive abuse, and they diagnosed you with bipolar disorder.
Bipolar 2 disorder. Hypomania. And then medicated me. And I immediately went to my partner and said, I'm so sorry. And I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and I'm going to work on it
No.
and I'm going to fix myself. And I am so sorry. And please don't, please don't hate me. I'm going to take care of this. And he would then use that to torture me. So he would, he would pick on me. And because I was like, I want to punch you. I'm sorry. I just was so I did the I didn't realize I was being abused. I'm gonna be so for real right now, my digestion, not digesting. I couldn't go to the bathroom and I was becoming sick
Mhm.
and I was becoming just like I wasn't sleeping
Right.
and I my tummy was all messed up and I'm sick and I'm hot and I'm tired and I'm like freaking out and I'm like, why am I acting this way when
Mhm.
I've never acted this way? And I can't be a scientist when I'm this way. And
Mhm.
now this doctor is telling me that I have bipolar disorder. So now I have to go every month to talk about medication. And every time this dude would pick on me and I would want to punch him, instead of punching him, I would start self harming myself because I couldn't, I had no, I had no understanding of what was going on. And reality was so warped. And the only way that I could make reality feel real again was by punching myself in the head like this.
It's crazy.
And every time I would do that, he would pull out his phone and he would record it.
Oh my gosh.
And so I was like, he's going to
Man.
show
Mhm.
everybody, and
Mhm.
I'm not going to be able to be a scientist
Mhm.
because I'm a crazy person. And so 2019, I get selected to go stay in a lunar habitat in isolation on top of a volcano
Wow.
where I pretend I'm living on the moon with a
Yes.
crew, eating freeze-dried food. You can't go outside unless you wear a spacesuit. And I
Wow.
think I have bipolar disorder. And I go, it's 2 weeks, it's with the European Space Agency, and I'm having a great time, but there are issues. My ex is not responding to my emails. I can't call him. All I can do is email him. And I'm
Mhm.
not allowed to really email him too often because I'm busy on mission. And his messages back are just so curt and
Mhm.
just so like one worded or just like not happy to hear from me. And I kept a log, and in the log I kept saying I'm psychotic. Um, he's gonna leave me. He's gonna put me in a hospital, and it's my fault. And I'm never gonna be a scientist, and it's all my fault. And I'm spiraling in a habitat in isolation with other people
Yeah.
and becoming reclusive, not wanting to go outside. I'm a geologist. What do you mean?
Yes.
Not go outside. Uh, my digestion is worse now, and there are no doctors. You're in a habitat. You're on the moon. Like you're doing research. This is part of the experiment. Your meltdown, KYLA, is part of the experiment.
Golly.
So I get done with this mission. Mind you, mind you, he had had a seizure several months prior because of his drinking and almost died and got really angry that I called an ambulance and got him to the hospital. So I'm in the habitat panicking that he's drinking, right? Because I don't want
Yes.
him to die. And so I just melt down, just completely melt down. I completely lose my freaking mind. And I can't tell anybody why because I don't know. I don't understand.
Yeah.
So I get out of the habitat and I am so excited to see him. And I have like this like Armageddon fantasy of like
Mhm.
coming down off the
Mhm.
mountain. I'm like, oh. Yeah, no, he was
Didn't happen.
really angry to see me. He took me to go eat and it was just really weird and awkward and he didn't want to hear about my mission and he didn't want to see the pictures and he got really jealous and he got like all these things, right?
That's crazy.
While I was in the habitat, we got a message from Earth,
Mhm.
hey, so there's this thing called COVID-19.
Mm.
I get out of the habitat, a month later I go back into isolation with my abuser and
Mhm.
then I got pregnant.
Mhm.
So I'm in isolation in the middle of nowhere, Hawaii, Orchid Land, which is in the middle of a forest, living on rain catchment with my abuser, pregnant, and not just pregnant. I have hyperemesis gravidarum.
What is that?
Also, it's called HG, hyperemesis gravidarum. It is morning sickness that lasts forever. I'm not kidding. You throw up, and you're like, oh, I feel so much better. No, it makes
Oh
it worse.
my gosh.
I had to go get IVs because I was so dehydrated. I could not keep water down. And so here comes freaking NASA, and they're like, hey, KYLA, we need 30 tiles. So I would make um, tiles out of lava for launch pads that would be
Hmm.
used on the moon. And NASA asked for a lot of these tiles so that they could make launch pads and test them. And I was like, cool. I am pregnant. I go into my lab. It is COVID. I'm not allowed to have an assistant. It is me and sometimes the help of some colleagues, but it is me. Okay. It's 90 degrees, 100% humidity. It's
Oh my
Hawaii in a
gosh.
hot room. I got to put on a jumpsuit. I got to put on a full face mask. I'm pregnant, sick. I would go in there, throw up, and start working, and then go home and be told that I'm crazy, I'm psychotic, I need to be in a hospital. I rain negativity down on everybody. I am no, I am almost 7 months pregnant. It is October. My husband had been on a bender and
Oh my gosh.
I
When did y'all get
mentioned
married?
in 2019,
And he
so a
moved
year
out.
prior,
Okay.
he proposed 6 months into us dating. Another red flag.
Yeah.
Um so he he goes on a bender. I mentioned to a friend, I was like, I think I'm being abused. I don't
Golly.
know. And I told her what was going on, and she's like, yeah, dude, that's abuse. I've been hiding out in my office because he had been on a bender when I was talking on the phone with this friend. And I decide, okay, I need to go home because I don't feel well. And so I go home and he's passed out drunk and I'm laying there and my the underneath where my pelvis is hurting really bad.
Hmm.
And I'm like crying and crying and crying. He wakes up and he's like on fire, angry because I woke him up because I was crying. He makes me feel physically unsafe, so I call 911. They come out here. He tells them she has bipolar disorder and she's going into psychosis right now. And they believed him. And they asked him if he wanted them to handcuff me and take me away.
Oh,
And he was like, oh no, it's okay. And I was like, they took me to the hospital because I was like, no, my
yes.
tummy hurts, okay? And I'm pregnant. So they're treating me like I'm a crazy crackhead person. Like they are just
Bye-bye.
saying like they're like irritated with me in this ambulance and I'm taken to delivery and labor and they just kind of leave me there
Close the door, please.
and they take, like tests, like urine tests and stuff like that. And they just leave me there. And then they're just like, we're not even gonna wait until we get the urinalysis back. We're just gonna send you home. And I'm like, I don't have anybody to pick me up because I'm not gonna call him. And they're like, you need to go. And so I was like, okay. So I call my friend who I told I think I'm being abused. She comes, she picks me up, she feeds me, and then she's like,
Put your
I
hands
want
on
to
me.
take you home.
Bye-bye.
Um,
Close the door, please.
I want to take you home, but I'm gonna go with you. And I was like, no, 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 just take me home and just
No.
let me go. And she's like, no, I don't feel right letting you go inside without me. And I was like, you're just gonna piss him off. And she's like, just let me go. And so
Mhm.
we go and it does. He throws something at me. He pushes her out of the way. She's like, grab your stuff, get out. Grab my stuff. She calls the cops. The same cops that had come the night before come and they're like, hey, we talked to him. We are so sorry. Oh my God. he is so drunk and he is like, no, oh my God, we almost handcuffed you. Like, and I'm just like, I am like visibly pregnant. Are you serious? And so they convinced me to get a restraining order. And so
Mhm.
I was like, okay, I got this restraining order and I requested he be removed from the house so I could go home because I'm pregnant. Hawaii, nothing gets done. I'm now homeless and I'm
Oh
pregnant.
my.
So thankfully, my friend let me sleep at her house, and I was like, I'll sleep on your couch. And she was like, you'll sleep in my bed. But during the day, I still had to go to work. And at that same time, I was trying to get into a PhD program. So I was writing grant work for NASA to pay for my schooling. And I'm homeless. And I call my dad and I'm like, I'm staying at a friend's house. Can I come visit? During the pandemic. So he sends me a ticket to go to Texas to go visit him during the pandemic.
Oh, you're
I
pregnant.
get to Texas and I stay there for a week and I end up dropping the restraining order because I just want to go home. I'm pregnant, I'm tired, and I think I'm the problem. Convinced I'm the problem. So I go home.
There's so much. So while you were talking, I was looking up the deprivation tactic because all of that triggered you to have to go see a psychologist. Him strategically keeping you from sleeping is what triggered you to think that something was wrong with you.
Mhm.
It says domestic abusers use a variety of tactics to control their partner, including sleep deprivation. Significantly, abusers will use this to their advantage and further abuse their victim as they will have a limited or impeded ability to respond, according to the World Health Organization. It states that the victim's mind will be jumbled as they begin to suffer memory blanks, increasing the risk of gaslighting. Additionally, the victim may struggle with remembering events, leading them to
Yes,
believe the aggressive behavior is their fault.
it's very true. And one thing that's been happening since I have separated from him is my doctor kind of explained it to me. She was like, you might have a sort of amnesia and memories might come back. And here's the thing, just like a teenager, like when I was a teenager, to deal with trauma and stress, I kept diaries
Mm-hmm.
and I revisited those diaries. And I'm sick to my stomach thinking, like, he had me so sleep deprived that I would try to go to sleep and I would hear like explosions in my head and it would make me jump up and nothing would be happening. And I don't know if that's from PTSD from the trauma because what people don't understand about PTSD, it's not flashback, I'm there. It's
Mm-hmm.
not like that. It's something triggers and your body is responding the same way that it did in that event.
Yes.
And for me, it was sweaty palms. It was fear, cold fear just running through my veins. Or this other, what I like to explain as a black hole opening up in the
Mm-hmm.
middle of my chest.
Wow.
I couldn't breathe, couldn't get like a good breath. It felt like the thing that people don't understand with black holes is they think like black holes suck in. But what actually is happening is the gravity around the black hole is so intense that you are being forced into it.
Mm-hmm.
You are being pulled into it, not sucked in, but pushed and pulled into it. And what it would feel like is that this black hole would open up in the middle of my chest and my body is like falling into it outside in, but not enough to just kill me.
Check you out.
It's just, And I just want it to stop.
Mm-hmm.
And the feeling of like, wow, I am horrible. I am this person who's supposed to be my safe place is telling me that I am crazy, that I am terrible, that I am all of these things. And I believe him.
Yep. I read somewhere that it says, like, people, somebody commented on one of my videos that I read with the crazy things you may or may not believe abusers have said. Someone commented on there and she was like, wow, I only suffered from the mental abuse. I'm glad I didn't have to endure some of the stuff that I'm saying in the videos. And the truth is, because the mental abuse is so damaging, because it tricks your mind into believing your body is actually going through an a physical trauma. So like you said, your body physically responds, and with mental and psychological abuse, you're constantly in fight or flight mode,
Mm-hmm.
which is not how the body was meant to survive. And people often minimize the impact because you don't see the physical bruise, you don't see the physical cut, the broken body pieces, but your body experiences the physical trauma as if that person really did do something physical to you.
It is violence. The body is reacting violently because it is violence. Sticks
Mm-hmm.
and stones, no, really, words do matter. They do hurt. And then you can't go to the bathroom. You can't like sleep. You are putting yourself in crazy situations on the move. You are, like just everything. He controlled everything and I'm
Yeah.
paying for everything. And
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what I do, it's
Mm-hmm.
always wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I am so convinced that I am the problem. And it's not just because he's saying it, it's because of my past experience of I'm still trying to rebuild myself. And where science was also like my grasp on reality, because that is reality, it was also the thing that was perpetuating the abuse. Because
Mm-hmm.
I am so convinced, I am just so trying to become this person that I want to be, that I am so willing to erase myself based on what this guy is saying.
Yeah.
And I look at the wheel of power and control, and I went through all of it. When I was postpartum, mind you, I had to go through a C-section because my kid was breech. They gave me my epidural. It did not take, I felt the whole C-section, screaming, crying. I can feel it. You guys are using scissors. You guys are using a scalpel. You guys are
Oh
moving
no,
my.
and they never stopped.
No, it's just anxiety. It's just anxiety. And remember, you have bipolar disorder. It's your brain. It's your brain. I am 2.5 months postpartum. My child was diagnosed with a very rare respiratory disease called cystic fibrosis. My world is crumbling. COVID is making it is ruining my job. We shut down. I am desperately trying to get into a grad program so that I have a job and get out of Hawaii to save my family and to get my child better health care because it just so happens that Denver is the place for cystic fibrosis research. So I'm postpartum. Our first specialist visit for my newborn who has a life-threatening disease. This man decides to beat me up. I'm still wearing the freaking girdle for the C-section. Still wearing it because it was so bad. And he beat me up.
Why?
Okay, so we find out baby has cystic fibrosis and you guys live on the Big Island and there's no medical there. You need to fly to Honolulu immediately and go see the one pulmonologist on in the state Your child needs medication with every meal. Your child needs medication once in the morning and once at night. Different medication, supplements. He needs to see specialists every 2 months. He needs a nutritionist. He needs a pulmonologist. He needs psychologist. He needs physical therapy, or your child will not live. Bottom line. Okay, so what do we have to do? Take him to Honolulu. Okay, the first day, this is the first appointment. My kid is like 2.5 months old. I have never heard of this disease, let alone I was not expecting it. Medicaid takes care of everything, so they'll take care of your flight. So we all went on the flight, and then they had a shuttle. The shuttle comes late. This makes him angry. I'm on the phone trying to get the shuttle, trying to get the shuttle. Mind you, panicked also, praying to God that they're wrong. My kid is not sick. This is all a mistake. And I'm calling the shuttle. Finally, after an hour, it shows up and he's already irritated. We get to the hospital and it's chaos. Nobody knows where we need to go. And we're late, and not by our fault, by Medicaid's, whatever. So it's all fine. He's getting irritated. Okay, you guys need to go to the specialist who's down the street. Take the shuttle. Shuttle doesn't show up. It's not that far. Let's walk. It's Hawaii. Whole time, he's gotta pee. I 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 am walking the best I can. And now I'm freaked out. So I'm trying to get the navigation and I can't figure it out because I'm panicked. And so we're walking, and the whole
Not
time,
to mention, you're not really supposed to be doing all this movement, right? Like you still girdled up, which means you're still not fully healed.
not fully healed at all. And so we finally get there, and his attitude, he goes to the bathroom and he changed. Really nice, charming guy, very knowledgeable, very like talkative with the doctors and the doctor's telling me, hey, mom, this is a bad disease, but he's gonna be okay. We're the you know you're gonna get this, it's gonna be okay. You guys really should move to Denver if you guys are serious about it. That's gonna be like the best place for him. Okay, cool. Hopefully I get into school. I got into school, so we're gonna move. Okay. um so we have to go back to the hospital. So we have to walk again. So we walk to the hospital, and baby needs to get a few tests, and one of them is a sweat test. He is a newborn still, so he's like small baby. So he's like, "What are you doing?" And it's just, like a thing that they put on, and
Mhm.
you just wait. Well, homeboy outside is like getting angry because they only wanted one parent in the room. And I was like, I got it. I'm trying to keep baby, calm down. He's screaming. And in the waiting room, he's getting belligerent, yelling at people, snapping at people, saying really weird, mean things loudly at people. And I'm coming out going, we're okay, we're okay. It's just a long day, right? Like, I'm gonna get him out of here. And like, I'm getting him out. And the whole time we're going back to the hospital after all of this, I'm like, yeah, so today was a wild day, right? Like, but don't worry, when we get home, I'll buy you lunch and we'll do like all this stuff. And like, when you get on the plane, you can take a nap on my lap and like, it'll be fine, right? Like, everything will be okay. And I'm like, look out the window. Like, you see this part of the island? Like, I can tell you the geology about it. I'm just trying to, like, not fall apart. And I'm getting text messages from the doctor saying, yep, he definitely has cystic fibrosis. And these are like, I'm just like, oh my God. So we get back to the Big Island, and it's during COVID, and Hawaii was dead serious about COVID because it's a tiny island and we cannot,
Right.
historically, it's not a good thing. You have
Right.
like viruses on tiny islands. Um, so you have to go through a line, they check your forehead, they do all the COVID things, right?
Mhm.
My baby, as you know, babies do sometimes, he had a blowout. And I was like, oh no. So I flag down this uncle and I go, uncle, uncle, uncle. He kind of, had a blowout. And he goes, oh, it's okay. He goes, I go, I know I'm not supposed to, but can I take him to the bathroom? It's just right there to change him. He goes, oh, go ahead. Go, go, go. We're not going to let baby be all like gross. He goes, go, go, go. And my ex goes, he goes, no, you can do it in the car. And I go, no, it's raining and it's hot and it's Hilo and my car is dirty. It's got like sand and mud and stuff. Like, no. And I go, it's right there. So I just take him to the bathroom and get him cleaned up. And my phone is in my bag, like you've got like the stroller with all this stuff and you're just like a mess, right? I come out, he's gone. He's gone. And I'm like, where is he? So I'm, oh God, oh no, no, no. I go outside and I'm like looking, and you gotta understand the Hilo airport is like literally so tiny. So, so I hear, Kyla, what the F? And I'm like, and I turn around and there he is. What? What? So I run over there and he's like, you ditched me. You ditched me. How dare you ditch me? And I go, I just changed a diaper. He goes, you could have done that in the car. And then he goes, what do you want for lunch? And I go, well, I'm not hungry now. I just want to go home. So we get in the car. I'm in the back seat because the baby's still very little and I was just sitting with him. And I pull out my phone and I start recording because he's driving like a maniac. And I am terrified. He pulls in to a grocery store, slams the car in brake, turns around and goes, what? What? So I'm just in extra double trouble then? Everything has to be your way? And I'm like, I am just tired and I want to go home and I'm not hungry. And I'm like crying. You can hear me crying in the video, just sobbing. And he throws the car back into drive and speeds off and is driving like a freaking maniac. I get home, I get everybody situated, everybody's tired. He goes to bed. I put baby in his crib and I go and I sit down on the couch just to let go. And I put on my tablet and I'm watching like Bob's Burgers and I fall asleep on the couch. He violently wakes me up in the middle of the night around midnight and he's like, you're punishing me. And I go, what are you talking about? He goes, you're punishing me. You're not sleeping with me in the bed. And I go, I just really wanted a break, dude. And I get up and he's yelling at me and he's telling me like all these awful things about myself. And I just grab my water on the table and I throw it at him right in the face. And he's like, you're putting me in danger and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh yeah. And I go to the sink and I fill it up with water and I splash him in the face again. And then he flips out. He runs into the room where the baby's at and he locks the door. And I'm trying to get in because I'm like, my baby is in there, my baby is in there, my baby is in there. And I go, please, 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 please let me in. Please, 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 please. And for some reason, my phone ended up in there. And I go, you have to give me my phone. You have to give me my phone. Like, you have to give me my phone. So he gives me my phone. And I'm like trying to call 911, but I'm freaking out. And I go to grab the doorknob again, which he had locked. And I jiggle it. And then suddenly it unlocks and he comes out and is so I'm like trying to defend myself and like doing like that back and I I run. I grab my phone and I run out of there as fast as I can and I call 911 and then they come and they pull him out of the house. They make me go back in the house to get baby and they they pull him out and they beat him really hard with the batons and then take him to jail. And they're like, we need to look at your body. And I had a massive bite mark on me. And they were like, we need to take a picture of that. They put in Hawaii, you when there's domestic violence, you automatically get a 48-hour restraining order. It doesn't matter. He was not allowed to come back for 48 hours. And I go, and they're like, you need to get away from him, period. And I go, okay. So the next day I go to an advocate and I'm like, I need to get a TRO. And they're like, okay. And I go, wait, if he gets a TRO on me and I get a TRO on him, what's going to happen to my baby? And they're like, yeah, CPS is definitely coming. And I was like, and I had just gotten into school. Now, I only have an undergraduate degree. In my line of work, I need a PhD to do what I want to do and to increase my earning potential. And Hawaii was like, we're prosecuting him. Like, you don't have a say in it. We're pressing charges on him. And I'm like, okay, so can I leave without him? My baby needs medical help. No, he has rights as a father. And I'm like, so if I leave, am I going to get in trouble for kidnapping my kid? And they were like, oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. So I had to take him back. And we had to beg the judge, you got to let us. And I go, they go, if he gives you permission, you can go. And so I asked him, and he was like, no, absolutely not. You're not going anywhere. And so we begged the judge, I'll say that it was mutual abuse. I'll say
No.
whatever I need to get my baby the help he needs. Just help me. Just let me get my baby. Just let me get my baby to the big man so that I can help him. So the judge was like, yep. Eventually the whole thing was dropped and he was scot free. And I got my baby to Colorado. And the whole time, I realized that moment that I am going to have to plan an escape and it is going to take years. I am stuck until I get that PhD and I'm going to have to play and I'm going to have to, you remember in Disney, in Disney's Aladdin movie where Jasmine is trying to distract Jafar and she's like, Jafar, and she's all like, like I had to do that. And I kept thinking about her and was like, that's where I learned that because I have to get this PhD. So we got here and things did not get better because now, as he put it, we're on his turf and no one's coming for the sad little local girl. So why didn't you leave? Why didn't you leave? Because I couldn't, because the system is against me. Because I literally had to play a game to get away from this person. I have no money. He has completely financially broke me. And guess what? When he comes to America, he is able to get a job. He's got like a high ranking position at the school that he works at. And it's almost not fair. Um, the whole time I was working on this freaking PhD, he would sabotage me. A lot of my classes were online, so I would be here, sitting here, having class, and if it went over 1 minute, he would burst into the room and start demanding when he was going to get his break, when I was going to be done, taking too long. And the worst part about it is I started locking that door. He would still come in. I would be sitting here trying to concentrate on high level science so that I could get a stupid PhD. And here comes this maniac screaming at me. He would do it for meetings, he would do it for class. I would have to go, part of my dissertation was literally making lava and pouring it to make materials. And because I had to be a stay-at-home mom, the plan was he was going to work at night so that I could get stuff done during the day and then he could go work at night and I could watch the baby. That is not what happened. I had to be a stay-at-home mom. I still had to pay all the bills and I had to get this PhD at the same time. He tried so hard to sabotage me. At night, when I had to go do those chores, sometimes he would come home so drunk that I couldn't leave him with my baby. So I'd have to cancel. And by this point, I had read so many books and done so much research. I just started telling people. I was like, I'm being abused at home. So if I cancel suddenly, that's why. And my whole campaign has always been I need people to start being comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because I can't tell you how many times I have run out of this house that I am sitting in right now, screaming for help, and my neighbors just turn around. And instead of helping me, talk smack about me and how crazy I am, when I'm literally screaming for help because I don't feel safe. And I feel attacked mentally. I haven't slept. For 2 or 3 years, I slept on the couch because I didn't want to sleep with him in the bed. And what's crazy is all these stories I've told, they're not even the tip of the iceberg. So when you ask, are you writing a book? Oh, yes. Yes, I am. Because why didn't you leave? Why weren't you smart enough to leave? Okay, with what money? I paid for everything. I had no money. I still have no money. I'm still fighting him today. I just left. And like the day after I graduated with my PhD, he went to jail for a 20-year warrant that came back to life the day that he hit me. And he didn't know he had a warrant. So we moved here and he thought, I'm going to buy a gun. Goes and tries to buy a gun. And they're like, sir, you have a warrant.
For what?
Oh, well, with Trump being in office right now and stuff like that, like I'm going to need to protect us, right?
Right,
Not with a gun.
right.
You're not allowed to have one.
Why did he have a
Um,
warrant?
20 years ago, 2002. He's like 22.
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, this is the same time I'm going through all the bombing stuff.
Yes.
So I'm a child. He got a DUI. He skipped town and moved to Hawaii instead. He was living in my country, my state, my land, talking smack about my people when he was there because he's a criminal, because he got a DUI and didn't want to deal with it. That's why he was in Hawaii. And when I found that out, I was like, oh, the ancestors are coming for you. The ancestors are coming for you, my friend.
The
So
history of running when he's done something. When he's done something.
he runs constantly. So 2 weeks, 3 weeks before I graduate, he has this court hearing. And again, everything is very intertwined with race with him. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes to this court hearing on in Zoom because it happened in Michigan. So we're not there. So on Zoom, okay, he's got this like nice tailored suit. Mind you, I don't have any nice clothes. And he had like all these e-bikes and like all these toys and like all this stuff. And I didn't have anything. So he's got this like nice tailor suit, right? He's on Zoom and he's thinking like it's been 20 years. This judge is just gonna see a nice white guy. and it's all gonna be okay, right? Yeah, no, dude was a very seasoned DV judge who happened to be black. And the only reason I bring that up is because he brings that up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, no, dude, no, that would irritate the hell out of me too. Here comes another white guy wearing a nice suit who thinks 20 years is enough time to erase all these things. And he's sitting there trying to say, yeah, well, I changed my life. I changed my life. I am an educator now. And it's like, yeah, but you still have a criminal record and like all these TROs from your wife. And it doesn't look like you've done anything. So yeah, you're going to jail. You have 2 weeks to get here.
Wow.
And everybody was like, judge, 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 whoa, 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 it's Christmas. And he's like, I don't care. And
Mm-hmm.
then he goes, well, judge, my son has cystic fibrosis. He needs me. And he goes, that's not my problem. That's your problem. Hope you didn't kill him. He knew. I'm sure
Yep.
he like saw and was like, no, your
Yep.
wife is the one. Excuse me. So he had to go. I had to take him to the airport the day after I graduated with a PhD to work on NASA projects. Take this dude to jail. The contrast was so just intense.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, okay, you promised yourself once you got this PhD and things did not turn around, that this was done. So what's the plan, KYLA? What's the plan? I'm done. I told him he had to leave. He had to go. And it's been hell ever since.
Mm-hmm.
The the abuse almost gets worse.
Mm-hmm.
The things he's like he called me a pig recently, and it was so hurtful because I have gained weight. And I mean, I had a baby. I had to get a PhD. I had to live through abuse and I gained weight and it sucks and I hate it and I hate the way I look and I just hate the way I feel. And he called me a pig. And I know it's like, oh, it's just a name, it's just a word. And he was saying, but it's like he knows
Mm-hmm.
what my insecurities are
Mm-hmm.
and he goes for them and he uses them. Thankfully, um, my bipolar diagnosis was taken off.
Good.
I when I moved here, I started working with a psychiatrist that I've been working with the entire time I've been here, so 5 years. And she
Mm-hmm.
goes, "You're not bipolar." She was like, "ADHD? Oh, girlfriend."
That's you. You got it.
She was like, "But this is not bipolar disorder." She
Yeah.
was like, "No, we're taking that off your record." She was like,
Thank you
I can't believe you had to go through that."
for so long.
So why didn't you leave? Well, the system was against me. And you have men, outside men, unintentionally perpetuating and
Yeah.
validating this man.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I call the cops, guess who they sided with? Because guess who is hysterical and crying and upset? And even after I read this wonderful book called The Dance with Anger, even after I learned, don't look freaked out, don't, you
Mm-hmm.
lock in, girl,
Yeah.
and talk to these people. It still didn't work. They still sided with him. They knew he was a danger too. He was wasted this one time. Tried to beat up my neighbors. And I said, what can we do to help you? Oh, take him away. That's what you could do. No, he didn't hit anybody, but he tried to. He tried to attack my neighbors. He is wasted. There is a small child here. He threatened to kill their dog. Like, what more do you need? Do you want him to actually hit me first?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if he does anything again, just call us. Are you serious?
There's clearly a history of me calling you.
A long history, and not just here in Colorado. You get the Hawaii stuff too.
Right.
He is a problem. What is it because he's I'm sorry, is it because he's white? What is it? What is it?
That's crazy. You called. They did their job that time. And then they told you you would be kidnapping y'all's son.
Yeah.
It's still, I just want to know what year it's going to be when the system realizes that an abusive parent who abuses the other parent is, in fact,
Is
a danger to the child.
a very big danger to the child. A very big danger because he does stuff to him to hurt me. That
Mm-hmm.
is unacceptable. We don't do anything to the child to get back at the other parent. That's crazy. And he has many, many times.
I can't wrap my mind around how they don't see this.
You know what? You know what? You know what made it, what was a detriment to me is they would ask, what do you do for a living? You know how freaking insane I sound when I say, oh, I work on NASA projects making materials for the moon. Yeah,
What
right.
does that matter?
Yeah, right. But that's what I've gotten. Okay, sure you do. Okay. Yeah, no, I've gotten that a lot.
That's
I'm a
insane.
scientist. I'm an engineer. No, you're not. Please.
That's insane. You had your out when they pressed charges,
I had my out. I
and
did.
then they told you you couldn't use it.
And it was a decision because, again, I love Hawaii. I'm Hawaiian. I didn't want to leave the Big Island. That is my happiest of happy places. But my son's disease is that severe,
Mm-hmm.
and he does need a full-on team to keep him healthy. He takes
Yeah.
so much medicine, and he's incredibly healthy for having this disease.
Mm-hmm.
But it's because we got him out of Hawaii.
Yeah.
I got him out of Hawaii, and I make sure that he gets everything he needs when he needs it. And yeah, it was like, no, okay, so what? My kid stays sick and he still has parental rights? His parental rights are more important than my child's health. My child literally cannot eat food without taking enzymes first. He has to have it every single meal that includes some kind of fat or protein. He has to take enzymes.
The crazy thing is that this is obviously nothing. This isn't a he say, she say situation. You didn't have, they took your choice away and said, we are going to press charges and there's nothing you can do about it. So, you know, for a fact, judge, court, clerical, officer, counsel, everybody who's involved in this decision, you know for a fact, I'm not doing this to spite the father.
Oh, that's a good point.
You know for a fact, because I didn't just call them and they show up and it's like, well, because you called, we'll do this, but it's not necessarily evidence. They took it upon themselves to do this. So why is, again, like you said, why is his parental right? Those rights should be gone as soon as you take him to jail, because if it's
He's
endangering the child.
he's shown that he's a danger to the child. But that's the thing. It's so hard to get
Mm-hmm.
parental rights taken away,
Mm-hmm.
even
Mm-hmm.
temporarily.
Mm-hmm.
Because why is that so important to these people?
I don't
Like,
know.
it always comes back to, oh, but he has parental rights. Who cares?
He's not even parenting,
No,
but
you're
they're,
just you're just making it, you're just giving him more control over me.
yes, that's exactly what it is. It's like their focus is more on the, I can't even say the good of the family. Their focus is more on keeping the family, the people who share DNA. Their focus is more on keeping the people who share DNA together, but at what cost?
At what
Because
cost?
you're at this point, because there was a statistic I read last week actually, that a boy who's exposed to an abusive household and upbringing is 10 times more likely to be an abuser himself.
So, yes, that's true. And that is something I take very seriously. Um, my mom lives with me now.
Mm-hmm.
And so my mom and I are raising my son. And that was also part, and this is people, I got accused so often of being just so selfish for still pursuing my PhD. Um, because, well, you need to think about your son first and you need to get him out of that house. But the thing is like, again, I have no money. My car, I'm in a whole, I'm sure I'm from America, I've lived here before. I've never lived in Colorado. I had just spent 8 years back home in Hawaii where things are not the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the same. Okay. I am now dealing again, culture shock and moving and trying to get through that trauma of, well, I moved again. Um, and it's like, okay, the safest, the I try to tell people I made the best decision available. You were not in my shoes.
Who
I could
has
not.
the audacity to tell you being selfish for pursuing it?
You need to give that up. You need to go get a job so that you can help your kid. Okay, I can't pursue my career without higher education, at least a master's, and I don't have it. And I wasn't, I wasn't like, oh, hey, I want to get my PhD. They asked me.
Yeah.
This was my out. This was my out. The company I was working for in Hawaii, the day we left for Colorado, they shut their doors. They did not exist for like a whole year, 2 years. They're back now, but I wouldn't have had a job. Where was I going to go work?
Mm-hmm.
I had to go. This was the best decision available. It got my son the medical he needed,
Mm-hmm.
and it helped me raise my earning potential because I can see the writing on the wall. I'm going to be a single parent.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but working at the grocery store isn't going to cut it in today's America. I did the best I could with what I had. I want my kid to have the education that he wants. I want my kid to see a woman pursuing something that men pursue. Women can be doctors too. Women can be scientists. Women can be engineers. Women can do, men, sorry, left turn. Men, they like to say, oh, I'm physically strong. That's why like men are awesome because we're physically strong. Women are cosmically strong. You are physically strong to protect me and the child. I have been given the responsibility of carrying this child, loving this child, feeding this child. Your job is to protect us so that I can get this child to grow up.
And they
I
can't even do that right.
and I'm sorry, but I felt my entire C-section. Please, please,
Oh
any
my
man,
gosh.
come to the front and tell me you could do that. And then still get up, deal with abuse, get a PhD, and deal with a special needs child. Cosmically strong.
That's crazy.
And I have not lost my compassion. I have not lost my empathy. In fact, it has been my biggest downfall because I think in systems.
Hmm.
You have a system. So if I put XYZ into system, I should get ABCD out. Oh, wait, that's not working. Let me try this. No, wait, that's not working. Yeah, it was never going to work because it was never going to work. He was never in the same relationship as you. He doesn't think from a place of compassion. He doesn't think from a place of empathy. He doesn't think of a place from solution. He's already made up his mind what's what. And he's going to torment you and distract you away from
Hmm.
anything that you are trying to do or talk about because he's not in the same relationship as you. You're trying to build a real relationship. You're trying to have this partner, trying to have this family, and he's playing games.
Hmm.
It was never going to work out.
Never, ever, ever. And it's like the sooner that someone in that situation can realize that, the better. But it just takes us so
It's
long
so
because
long.
we're so stuck on who they presented themselves as from the very beginning.
Exactly. And I keep telling people flashbacks to the love bombing stage. Your brain can tell you, no, I know, I got it. I
Mhm.
intellectually know this person is bad, but try to tell your heart and your nervous system they haven't gotten the memo yet.
They
And
didn't.
it's going to take a long time because they remember, oh, but he was so warm and he smells so good. And
Mhm.
he had so much trauma as a child. And
Mhm.
look at how hurt he is. And no one's ever loved him the way that he needs to be loved. And I have all this love and compassion, and I just want to give it to him and make him feel better.
Mhm.
He never thought that about you, though.
Ever. Never, ever, ever.
So I erased myself, almost completely erased myself. And a month ago, I discovered my journals from when I was a teenager. And I read them and was like, I forgot who I was.
Wow. Come on
And
now.
it was like waking up from a coma. It was like he stole $600 from me while I was homeless. I had saved, my grandfather had given me a bunch of money for the baby, and
Hmm.
I hid it. I didn't tell him about it either. I
Of
hid it
course.
in like a pencil bag in the closet. And while I was gone, he tore through the house, found the money, stole it, didn't tell me, knew it was for the baby, didn't tell me, waited for me to find out before, oh, I was going to tell you, didn't pay me back. Instead, took me to the store and bought me the things that I was already going to buy. And like, I was thinking about it and I was like, how would 15-year-old KYLA have dealt with that?
Right.
She would have knocked you out and demanded the money back. But pregnant KYLA was, look, I don't want to cause a scene, but
Hmm.
it really hurt my feelings that you stole that money. And I'm like really afraid because I don't like what? I called the cops on you.
Yes. 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 All of that. Oh my gosh. Kyla.
I know. Sorry. This like went on so long. But like I just
But the buildup was necessary.
No, I know. It really was. And I've been thinking about this. That's why I like planned this out like ahead. I was like, how am I going to tell this story? Okay. Like, I need other women to know
The buildup
I
was
am a scientist. I
yes,
do stuff with NASA. It is
yes,
not about intelligence.
no,
In fact, they target intelligent,
yes,
strong women and they break them down and they
yeah.
make them feel like they are a problem because we all know loudmouth chicks be kind of thinking, I do be acting crazy sometimes. like, like,
Yes, yes. That it is all a tactic. And I'm not gonna lie, like when you started talking about him and then you was like, but he is kind of cute. I was like, oh no.
no, yeah, he's so handsome. He
I was
is.
like,
And
no, he's the one.
he
But I have to
just,
wait.
and the thing is like he was so good at mirroring that I
Yes,
was like, oh my God, I see myself. Like, you get me. Oh my
yes.
gosh. Nobody, I felt like in my whole life has truly 100% gotten me.
Mm, mm, mm.
And then here's this guy, and he's like, I see you. I get you. I mean, down to the same music, down to the same like quotes from the same TV shows, from it just everything, right? And he's intelligent and he's
Mm.
charming and good looking and yeah, he's abrasive, but it's genuine. And it's, and it's not. That was not who that was. And it took way too long to realize it. And by
Yeah.
the time I did, I was stuck.
Yep.
And of course, I was still battling. But I love him, but I love him, but I
Mhm.
love him, but I love him. And then
Mhm.
would listen to like Lana and then be like, no, Lana Del Rey. Oh no, I miss him so much.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then get back into arguing with him, be like, oh God, this is why I can't, I can't stay. This is bad.
Yeah.
And like I said, this was not even the tip
Tip
of
of
the
the
iceberg.
iceberg. Yep.
I mean, I could go on for hours about the isolation. I could go on for hours about the threats, the
Mhm.
fear, the intimidation, the fact that he knew I did not grow up in America. So it was not even in like now, up until, just now, I didn't really have a grasp on like what's legal. Like,
Yeah.
what am I going to get in trouble for? Like, what really are my rights? Like, and then you get on Instagram and you see like women are getting in trouble because they got abused. And like, you're just like, oh, and he played on that.
Yeah. They play on everything. Everything.
I don't understand that way of living or thinking, or I would never, and don't get me wrong. I feel like everybody at some point in their life has manipulated somebody,
Hmm.
or felt like, oh, if I need to get
Hmm.
something my way. But you would expect the older you get, the more experience, the more life you live, that you realize that's messed up. We don't do that.
Nope. Not at all. Not in their brains. And Tim, I just gotta say this because you mentioned it. For whoever is watching and doesn't know, intimidation is abuse. It's actually physical abuse.
It is.
And psychological and mental abuse is physical abuse. You would just need to have the money to go get your brain tested so that you could have the actual proof to take to somebody, but it is.
Sam being abused. Yeah. I wasn't sleeping.
Mhm.
I was sick.
Mhm.
Why didn't you leave? Because I thought that there was seriously something wrong
With you.
with me. Because here's the thing, I am introspective. I will, and that was the whole point. I'm going to be a scientist, so I need to really
Mhm.
smooth out those edges. So I need to be willing to really look at myself
Yeah.
and say, yeah, you need to like work on this. So he's eating off of that.
Mhm.
completely.
Yep. Mm, mm. But now we call you Dr. KYLA.
Yep. And I got it during the height of abuse
Work. Crazy work.
because I wasn't going to let him take that away from me. This was the whole plan. Like, I need to execute. And trust me, there were so many times I was like, I really just don't want to do this.
Yeah.
This is so hard and I'm so tired.
I can't imagine like knowing the how it feels to be sleep deprived, how it feels to feel like you're the problem and you still were able to do that and do that with a special needs kid. Like, girl, rock
I
star,
I don't know, like, I mean, I'm sure it cut off some years on my life, like,
rock
but
star.
like, I just, this was, this, once I had that baby,
Hmm.
it was once I had that baby, I was like, no, this is the only way I know
Yeah,
how to get us out of here.
yeah.
And it's really rough. I graduated in December and like spiraled again,
Hmm.
because it was like, he went to jail. And now I'm scared that I made the wrong decision. I picked the wrong science. Trump came in and started like cutting budgets and all that
Yeah,
stuff. And I was like, I
yeah.
screwed up. I screwed up so bad. And thankfully, like I have an amazing job with amazing colleagues and bosses and stuff. And things are slowly showing to be okay.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
those first several months, I was not okay. I'm still not okay. I'm still trying to be okay, and I'm just not okay.
You are your stability, though. You are your firm foundation. You are your stable ground. You are the person that you know, regardless of what happens, it's not going to all fall apart. Pieces may crumble. Pieces may crumble. But you have in you something so special that you won't allow it to fall apart. And you won't allow anyone else to destroy it. And what I told myself coming out of the abusive ship that helped me was that it's only a season. Does it suck? Yes. Is it absolutely terrifying and hard? Yes and yes.
Oh, yeah.
But you have one up, two up, three up who you used to be. You're finding out who you are again. You're finding a way to trust your own voice again. Like you're proving to yourself that you were not crazy the entire time. And that should validate your voice. And for anyone who's listening, we're not responsible for their healing. We're
That's the
not.
big that's the big lesson. I
Yeah.
can sympathize. So the thing that I keep telling myself, compassion without boundaries is self-erasure.
Hmm.
And you can have compassion,
Yeah.
you can have sympathy and empathy for someone, but they are responsible
Hmm.
for taking action on their own trauma. And
Yeah.
one of the things that he almost got me on was I kept imagining this little boy who looks just like my son being abused.
Yeah.
And I couldn't, I would let him get away with, no, I would allow
Yeah.
a lot
Hmm.
because I'd be like, yeah, but then I go back to that little girl's journals and I go, yeah, but
Yeah, we ain't doing that.
she has been out here working on it since the bombing. If a child can take accountability for her own PTSD,
Right.
then a 45-year-old man
And
can too.
mhm. Absolutely.
And I just want other women to know that just by default, being a woman, you are gangster. And
Oh, now
you need to like understand how strong you are.
the power.
There's so much. I almost let this person erase me.
Hmm.
She wouldn't be erased though, because her reactions when she got bitten, yeah, she was there. But there was too long that those journals, it
Wow.
was like being hit by a truck. It was like, whoa, where have you been?
Yeah.
Girl, you was scared. You were in survival mode. You were you were hiding because you were scared. And no, no, I'm not going to be quiet anymore.
Amen. Oh my goodness.
Right?
Dr. Kyla, Lord have mercy. But so many lessons in this conversation. And I believe whenever the time is right, it's going to come across, the right people are going to find it, and they're going to be able to relate, and they're going to be able to see that they truly, in fact, are not crazy, because you are convinced. They do a phenomenal job of getting you to convince yourself that you're crazy. It's not them trying to convince you. And
No.
because you convinced yourself that you're crazy, you believe it even more because it was
Yes.
your idea or your
Hmm.
discovery.
But once you take a step back and you take yourself, when you're able to, when you're safe and able to, and you're able to take yourself out of that
Mhm.
situation, I encourage anyone going through this, when you can, when you're in a good mental place, or at least a better mental place, where you've had some rest and you've been able to take yourself out of that situation for a little bit and you're safe, make a timeline.
Mhm.
Write down that timeline and put major events on that timeline. And I guarantee you, you will see patterns. It's like almost embarrassing because it's like so obvious.
Yeah.
But when you're in it,
You can't
you
see what forest for
you
the tree.
cannot see it at all.
No, it's crazy.
People need to keep journals. And when they
Yes.
do, it's not just this happened this day. You need timestamp. You need, this is how I felt. This is how this made me feel.
Hmm.
Because that's where, when you get to a lawyer or a judge, that's where the real, like, hey, this really was violence because this is how I felt.
Yeah.
Hey, uh, my stomach was so messed up, or I was sick, or I gained a lot of weight, or or I look in the mirror, judge, and I don't see the same person.
You need as much evidence. It shouldn't even require the amount of
Of
evidence
evidence.
that's needed, but
It
it's required.
is required.
And
And
you
I
can't.
am, like I said, science is what kept me alive, but it also helped perpetuate the abuse. Um,
Mhm.
but thankfully for me, I had science, which is based in reality. And as rough as that is, because I was like, well, my reality still worked, I at least was able to go, okay, but I do know chemistry, and this is chemically this, and this.
Yeah.
And I'm still killing it in school, and I'm still killing it at my conferences, and I'm still publishing papers. So why the contrast is so intense here.
Mhm.
On this side, I'm being celebrated and encouraged and keep going. And on
Mhm.
this side, I'm being told I'm psychotic and I'm crazy and I'm violent, and it's not adding up. And I'm not good at math, but that math is not
That math ain't mathing.
not mathing.
I know that math ain't mathing. Oh man. Well, I just want to say, oh my gosh, it has truly been an honor and a privilege to share this space and this conversation with you. Truly, truly, truly,
Thank
truly.
you so much for hearing it. I
Absolutely.
know it was a lot, and it's oh, there's a lot of things that I'm like ashamed of, but like I just think it's so important the more we speak out.
Yeah.
And I did so much research and found the vocab, and I just want other women to have the vocab, and I
Yeah.
just want other women to know, like, here's the games, here's their playbook.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
it's the same. It's like,
It is the exact same. The exact same. I feel like it might be more copies of their playbook than the Bible. Like,
I know.
Lord, I'm not trying to be blasphemous, but that's what it
No, but
feels like.
good Lord.
It feels like that. Oh my gosh, it is everywhere. That's what's so bananas. Like, it's literally everywhere, but it's the same.
But it's the same. And it doesn't matter, like, the situation might be different, but when you compare
Hmm.
stories, you start to see, wait, what? That's exactly the same.
Yep,
That's
exactly.
exactly the same. It's
Exactly.
wild.
Hmm.
And like, do they know? Like, do they
That's what I want
know?
to know.
Do they, do they have meetings and forums that they
That's
like?
what I want to know. What's the Facebook group name? And is it private? How we
Like,
get in
are
there?
they meeting?
Hmm. That's what I want to know. Gotta be. God, this is too uncanny. It's like it's just it doesn't it blows my mind every conversation I have. I'm like, wow. And
Oh,
now
there's
it's
that same
every
story.
post. Hmm.
Yep. There's
Yes. The amount of time I see people comment on the post saying, "Oh, yeah, I heard number 4." And I'm just like, wow. Different parts of the world.
different parts of the world. It doesn't matter. It's still the
And it's
same
still the
play.
same.
It is. It might be like situations might be a little different, but I promise you, like the same. It's the
Mhm.
same.
Mhm. Well, girl, you done gave us what we came here for. You hear me? Oh my gosh. I love it. I am so beyond thankful that you are out. I hate that people don't know this, but the abuse does not stop when you're out, especially when you share kids. It just doesn't.
It changes, but it's like
It still lingers.
still, oh man,
It's
yeah. And
still
you
wow.
still question yourself and you
Hmm.
still hurt and you find yourself crying over things you know is dumb and
Hmm.
you know they're just saying stuff, but it still hurts.
Yep. Because they're master manipulators.
Hmm.
They are masters at it. But I just want to say thank you
Thank
again.
you.
To everyone watching, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for staying, sticking it out with us, and just keep doing you, girl. The rock star, Dr. Kyla. That's how you got to get announced on stage now when you go to do your presentations. The rock star, Dr. Kyla. Just tell me, let me know if you need me to do a recording, and you can just hey play this. This is my theme music.
This is the, yeah, this is my intro for everything.
I got you, sis. I got you. Oh my gosh. But keep showing up, keep sharing your love, keep shining your light, keep being an amazing beam of hope, of triumph, of victory that you are, being your standing firm foundation. Because
Thank you.
you're gonna help a lot of people. So amazing. I had to
Thank
pull
you.
one out one time.
Thank you so much for letting me tell my story. This is the first time I've
Mhm.
told it. So it I was, yeah, when I saw your post, I was like, I need to tell my story. I was like super intense. I'm sorry.
I love it though. I love it. This is the kind of energy we need because we got to open all this stuff up so people can really see what's behind these curtains.
Yes.
They got to see. But anywho's, I'm gonna let you go. We're gonna stay in touch. I got a new sister.
Yes.
But I love you to pieces and back together again. You have an amazing night. Guys, you know what it is. We will catch you next week. But in the meantime, in between time, we go.